Black technology, building a lightsaber starting from a graduation project. Hey! Look who's back for more adventures. We love having you here to continue this story that keeps us all awake. Important note, all of this is pure fiction, so don't try any techniques you hear here in real life. Your neighbor might call the cops. This amazing novel and all its rights belong to the original author. We're just the ones giving it voice and drama. Are you enjoying the show? Prove it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and leaving that like that motivates us so much. And if you want VIP access to exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting with things you won't find anywhere else. Chapter 226 The Stick is On. Combined with what he said before, Yuan Farron judge at sacrifice, eternal life. It's not just talking in this house, there is real research. Taking a deep breath, Yuan Farron asked the security guard, "Can you stay? We still need you for the time being, whether it's an investigation or an inquiry. Everyone in the lightsaber squad needs someone who can understand the East Afghan language at the same time. With him, it can also play an obvious role in conducting in-depth investigations." Surprisingly, he did not choose to refuse. "I am happy, Captain Yuan. What is your name?" "Zhang Fangyan, former reconnaissance unit." No wonder, even after being detained for a few days, having blood drawn several times, and even hearing the word sacrifice, immortality, he did not panic. It can also become the backbone of the 5 people if it is a soldier of the former reconnaissance unit. Then everything can be understood. Yuan Farron turned to Wang Oyu and instructed, "You lead the remaining 4 people to the border immediately and convey what you just heard. After the 4 of them are successfully received, you can come and join us." "Understood." Wang Oyu turned around and whispered to the other 4, "Follow me and leave. The place detained here is not far from the border in East Afghanistan. The East Afghan border has always been the most chaotic place. Presumably this is also the reason why the Scorpion mercenaries chose to take hostages here. Although, don't know why you hear science and theology combined, but Yuan Farron believes that Xu Teng will definitely see some clues. The brainstorming needs to be left to professionals, and he will be in charge of the past." Turning his head to look at Zhang Fangyan, who was professionally lying on the ground, Yuan Farron asked, "Tell me about the general situation and the weapon configuration of the personnel in this house." "It is good. It was 5 days ago that we delivered goods to the border, and they said there was something wrong with the goods and put us in a small room. Then we heard gunshots, and then a group of people rushed in and took us away. I came here 4 days ago, and at that time there were all kinds of scientific instruments in the house. Some houses with closed doors were bleeding from under the cracks of the doors. Since then, we have drawn blood twice a day. Once a mercenary came to draw blood. I occasionally heard them say that the captain's condition has completely recovered, and he can move towards immortality in the future. Sick, healed." Another topic of critical nature. It seems that there is a lot involved behind this mission, especially if the Scorpion mercenaries go to the official place to arrest people. If there is no force behind them to support them. Yuan Farron absolutely did not believe it, so this may involve some secrets at the top of East Afghanistan. As for their weapon configuration, as far as I see there are RPG, Gatling machine gun, AK-47. What else are those weapons that I haven't seen? I don't know. After saying this, Zhang Fangyan glanced at everyone and found that the remaining 3 were not nervous. There's even one, but such a momentum. It's not that the 3 of you beat more than a dozen others. Can you really be so calm? And also, at this time, Zhang Fangyan noticed that all 3 of them were carrying a peculiarly shaped gun. The appearance looks very wild, giving a feeling of aggression especially. Why are all 3 holding a stick in their hands? No, what is this stick? It's pitch black and useless even if you make crutches from my climbing. I am not happy. Looking at Zhang Fangyan's confused expression, Yuan Farron smiled and said, "Don't worry, it's just a dozen people. Gatling, RPGs are all trivial matters. I have this." As he spoke, he stretched out his arm, rolled up his sleeves, and revealed the watch on his arm. "Zhang Fangyan, I told you so clearly. You actually show me this. What is a watch? You're not going to rely on this to block RPGs. If it wasn't for the professionalism that he had trained in the army, Zhang Fangyan would have said something. "Brothers, please get around me. I don't want to die." Yuan Farron laughed and said, "Brothers, he doesn't believe us. Let's show him the lightsaber." "Lightsaber? What are you talking about then?" Zhang Fangyan saw the stick that he disliked before shined. "The backyard party goes on. Today is a good day. Yesterday, they got the news that the eldest's condition has recovered. Everyone knows that their eldest's condition is cancer, which is at an advanced stage. The doctor once issued a critical illness notice. He must die within a month. The Scorpion mercenary organization is in a place where the wind and rain are shaking. But half a month ago, The so-called official organization approached them and said, as long as they help go to the designated location to arrest people, they will find a way for the boss's condition. Originally, their boss didn't believe it, but the potion that I brought was too powerful. It is not difficult to directly get a seriously injured brother out of the crisis, and to promote immortality to everyone. No way. Everyone originally wanted to refuse, but the other side gave it too much, especially if their mercenaries are doing their heads without belts. According to the opposite statement, although they arrest people, they will settle the follow-up problems. Not only can serious injuries be healed, but there's even a chance to live forever in the future. Who doesn't care, anyway? Their eldest brother, who was suffering from cancer, surrendered on the spot, patted his chest and assured, "Do whatever you want, my master." Result: today, 2 weeks later, their boss has really recovered. Cancer cells are completely eliminated. It just looks a little bit wrong, but these are just minor problems. Immortality. It's normal for something to go wrong. They were used to the hexagram experiment in the house. I heard the experiment of the hexagram has also entered a critical period, so let's all have fun together today. Addo took a sip of beer and asked flatteringly to the bespectacled researcher beside him, "Can your experiment really be completed this month?" Rahim pushed the glasses above the bridge of his nose and said with a blank face, "It's none of your business. Just do your guarding well and don't let those experimental subjects run away." "Hi, how come?" Saying that, Addo picked up the walkie-talkie and asked, "Is there anything wrong tonight?" Silence. Hey, are you deaf? Speak to me now." After asking several times, no answer came from the walkie-talkie at this time. Chapter 227. Are those really guns? Addo had a bad feeling the people under him really like to play a little bit, but it's not enough. I can't even talk back to playing if it's called like that and no one has spoken yet. It's probably an accident. Addo waved his hand and scolded, "Stop for me." The sound of the instrument stopped abruptly. In addition to the captain, the highest status among the Scorpion mercenaries is the vice captain. Addo people are both respectful and afraid. "Captain, what's wrong?" If the captain is not there, the players are used to calling Addo the captain. "Don't ask, just ask." The vice captain who doesn't want to be the captain is not a good vice captain. Heavenly Evil and Heavenly Poison have not responded. As soon as these words were spoken, the atmosphere became tense. The border has never been a safe place. In particular, the situation in East Afghanistan is mixed, and they are still arresting people everywhere. Whoever said that there will be a special person in charge of the follow-up issues, but there are also people in the industry who have found a trace, which means that it will be a matter of time before the enemy's family follows the trace. Pen Fund Library. Cure cancer, live forever, enough to drive people crazy. Although the process requires sacrifice, these small problems can be ignored. Click. There was a sound of clips being loaded. If someone comes to the door, give him a bigger gift. Act 47, RPG, Gatling gun, plus home field advantage. Tell me, how to lose the dragon riding the face. I just like when someone rushes over to give people their heads like this. Addo turned his head to Rahim and said, "You hide by the side first, and then come out when the matter is over." Compared with the others, Rahim is just a researcher with little combat effectiveness. "Okay, try to keep those experimental subjects for me." Addo nodded with a wave of his hand. The younger brothers scattered around. Is this a lightsaber?" Zhang Fangyan felt that his head couldn't turn. After being affirmed, he no longer disliked the little stick, and even had a feeling of envy. "Lightsaber, you have such handsome things." That, the rough-looking firearm and the watch. Yuan Farron stretched out his arm to show him so. "The watch can really stop those bullets. You wait here in peace, we will come as we go." Before leaving, Liu Boran handed over the disarmed AK-47 to Zhang Fangyan. "Here, this is for your own protection." Looking at the backs of the three, Zhang Fangyan murmured, What kind of army is this? Why do you give me a sense of security that there are thousands of troops behind it?" "Later, I'll rush in first. You guys are a few seconds late, and then follow." Yuan Farron began to lay out tactics through the headset. Under normal circumstances, the tactics are 3 and 3. A group of 3 people, 2 tactics in the front. The captain behind use spoken language and sign language to respond to emergencies in a timely manner. But this time, Yuan Farron with a watch was very confident. "Tactics, excuse me." In the face of absolute strength, these bells and whistles are not needed when the watch is worn. The shield is turned on. RPG, what is a Gatling gun? As for why the players are a few seconds late, he was mainly afraid of accidentally hurting them when the shield rebounded. Clear. After getting the answer, Yuan Farron rushed forward. "That's right, I am straightforward." Addo watched the dozen people under his command all occupy the favorable terrain, and felt relieved in his heart. Although, do not know who the opponent is, but the other party came, and could kill 2 people in silence. It shows that there are many enemy teams. Knowing that there are defensive forces here, they dare to rush at least 10 people, possibly with plenty of firepower. It just doesn't matter. See that dark Gatling barrel? This is the symbol of security. Wait, when you find something unusual, call directly. Clear. Just after saying this, there was a sound of da da da. Someone is coming, and the footsteps came directly. So reckless. Addo was stunned for a moment. He has been in the business for so many years. I have never seen such a reckless person. Don't blame me for you rushing to reincarnate. Boom. As a figure appeared around the corner, Addo shouted, "Break him up for me." Da 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 da. Gatling's barrel kept turning, bullets flying everywhere, stirring up clouds of dust. There was a dazzling fire in the night. Boom. The RPG hits the target accurately. The surrounding walls collapsed, and some mercenaries bowed their heads due to the intense fire and the debris of the explosion. The thick smell of gunpowder filled the surroundings. Cough cough. Addo couldn't help coughing. "You are not dead. Whoever is dead deserves." The latter words are not finished yet, just froze in place. This. He couldn't believe his eyes. What am I seeing? Golden light. Where's this? Have I seen God? Next second, something bounced from the dazzling golden light. Da-da-da. Some bullets hit Addo's vicinity. This is Gatling's bullet. No. Why do bullets bounce back? A strong fear emerged in his heart, and that figure didn't seem to be here to send people's heads. AK-47, PRG, Gatling, all these firearms and bullets were blocked by the golden light, and the people behind them were safe and sound. Is he the devil? Just came up with this idea. I saw the man take out a strangely shaped firearm, and a faint blue light lit up near the muzzle. Addo swore he had never seen such a large beam. Run. Haven't had time to say this yet. A faint blue light beam shot out. Boom. Rumble. A violent explosion sounded, and Addo turned his head and found himself flying. He is not alone. Like him, the sky is full of gravel, and the big pit below. God, what the hell is this? Endless darkness shrouded over. I also want eternal life. Hearing the booming sound, Tang Yuan and Liu Born rushed out. Immediately pull out the blaster gun on your body and adjust the energy scale to the maximum. He turned around, jumped over Yuan Thirin, and shot behind him. Wait, what's going on with this big hole? The two were stunned in the next second. The faint blue light on the left and the right bloomed again. There were 3 big pits under the dusty sky. This is the first appearance of the blaster gun and ion energy shield. Crush all over the place. Zhang Fangyan was stunned when he heard the violent explosion sound and the faint blue light coming out. Are those really guns? Chapter 228 Therapeutic Efficacy. And also, what happened to the golden light that appeared before the dark blue? If it goes on like this, squad members do have a watch that blocks all bullets. He was only detained for a few days, not years. Zhang Fangyan subconsciously doubted himself before delivery. The world was normal since the delivery of goods was detained. The world seems to be a little abnormal, more than just sacrifice, eternal life. Even lightsabers, watches block bullets. These things came. There is another key. The firearms have a faint blue light. Why haven't I seen it? Even if he saw it with his own eyes, he began to feel that the world was a little bit crazy. It's obviously a technological society. So why don't everyone start talking about science? Tang Yuan and Liu Born were a little bit stunned by the big hole in front of them. Originally, I just wanted to defend it. Now, on the other side, this group is destroyed. The walls were all dust. There are also 3 more large pits around, which are particularly conspicuous under the stars, making people think that there are bombs falling from the sky. Liu Born swallowed and said forcefully, "Captain, what should we do now? It seems that it's a bit heavy to start. In the original plan, some people needed to be captured. Mercenaries are not a well-organized and disciplined group. Under the coercion of force, they can always ask some questions. This is also the reason why Yuan Farron kept Zhang Fangyan. Only he knows the language of East Afghanistan and is familiar with the surrounding environment. But now, unexpectedly, the first appearance of the blaster gun was extremely brutal. Hey, look for it carefully. If there's a live victim, report it in time. It is good. Clear. Although there is no hope, the 3 people at the scene are still very cautious. There have been more cases of boat capsizes in the gutter. There are 3 more big pits, which does not mean that all the people are gone under the violent output of the blaster gun. The progress of the 3 people is quite fast. Many walls were blown to dust, saving the trouble of finding someone over the wall. Hello, is anyone around? Yes, if you are still alive, say something. What are you 2 doing? Looking for someone? It's not what you asked for, Captain. Yuan Farron's head froze for a while. Do you think other people understand these things? Oh, yes, or we. Boom. The sound of falling stones not far away caught the attention of the 3 of them. They looked at each other, all cautious. You guys are waiting here. I'll go take a look there. Yuan Farron said, is for why go by yourself instead of letting the two of you go. The reason is, there is only one ionic energy shield. The scene has been washed with blaster guns, and basically all large weapons have been blown up. The rest are estimated to be only pistols and rifles. After the shield is activated, there is not much danger to Yuan Farron. Okay, Captain, be careful. Yuan Farron approached slowly. And there was indeed a person in the pile of rocks. Judging from the corner of the clothes that exposed the pile of stones, it was a white coat. Judging from the news I heard from Zhang Fangayan and the scientific research equipment in the house, it should be the researchers in Citadel. Yuan Farron activated the shield, and the golden shield was particularly dazzling in the night. If the other researcher directly shoots me with a pistol, at such a close distance, he should be hit by the rebound damage. It's none of my business. He himself is going to attack me. A series of thoughts appeared in Yuan Farron's thoughts when he picked up the pile of stones. He saw a scientific researcher who was doubting his life. Captain, is there anyone there? Yes, Yuan Farron paused and said, go and call Zhang Fangayan here. Judging from the situation at the scene, this person should not be aggressive. It's like, I'm trying to take the time to shape my perspective. Also normal. When he saw the ion energy shield and blaster gun, Yuan Farron took a long time to adjust his cognition. However, there is one thing to say: you have scientific researchers who sacrifice and immortalize. At this level, cat people who have never seen the world, things went more smoothly than Yuan Farron had imagined. The surviving researchers did not look for trouble. On the contrary, they were very cooperative except for the first half hour. Not being able to speak, the level of cooperation behind him made Yuan Farron wonder if he was a traitor. Break into the enemy's interior, just to gather intelligence. So, can he guarantee that what he said is true? Zhang Fangayan is very sure the scientific researcher is named Rahim, and he graduated from a famous foreign medical university with a doctorate. According to what he said, after graduating this year, he will return to East Afghanistan. It didn't take long for him to work for the official. About a month ago, he participated in a project called Eternal Life. The most professional doctor, of course, he thinks this is nonsense. With a high level of contemporary science and technology, medical treatment is not an absolute advantage. Many diseases and cancers have not been overcome, and there is no immortality. What turned him around was seeing an official pentagram study going on. He saw with his own eyes that the boss of the scorpion tissue was sitting in the pentagram. The cancer cells were restrained, and the condition began to improve. Then, he was assigned here to continue his research on pentagrams. It is worth mentioning that only the official pentagram pattern has medical effects. Others copy and do not have the slightest therapeutic effect. After working around the clock, today's research finally got a breakthrough. The 5-pointed star that received blood sacrifice has initially had the curative effect of treating serious injuries or lessen. It was this information that made Yuan Farron feel very strange. You call it science, but the whole has a theological air. But you'd say it's just theology. Rahim is a doctor of medicine from a famous foreign university, so he won't be so easily bewitched. How can he prove it? When Zhang Fangayan translated this sentence, he immediately got the answer. He said it can be proven now. As long as he stands on the pentagram and starts the ceremony, the injury will get better. Before the fight, Ardo had Rahim stand near the edge in order to take care of him. This is also one of the reasons why he can survive under the violent output of the blaster, but it does hurt. The skin on the face was burned, and the hands and feet were broken. From the appearance, it was indeed a bit miserable. If it really confirms the magic of the pentagram pattern, this is indeed a good idea, because you can also get key and accurate information, which can be sent back in time. Chapter 229 Bam City. How about let him try? Zhang Fangayan asked tentatively, although he is also very curious that the hexagram can have a therapeutic effect. But put yourself in the right place. In the end, it was not him who made the decision, so he gave a symbolic opinion. I have the ion energy shield and blaster, plus the lightsaber, and even if he's healed, it won't do any tricks. Thinking of this, Yuan Farron nodded and said, let him try, but you have to stand a little further away. It is good. Various vicious incidents occur frequently in East Afghanistan, and it is not a bad thing to pay attention. When Zhang Fangayan told Rahim the translated words, the other party kept thanking him. The steps to start pentagram therapy are simple. After turning on the surrounding instruments, the current began to flow into the pentagram. The electric current rotates in circles in the pentagram pattern, becoming a bright spot. The light grew from small to large, and finally turned into a bright star. It's a bit dazzling to make people look at each other at this time. Rahim stepped into the pentagram pattern without hesitation, especially when stones were thrown into the calm lake. Ripples slowly began to appear, gradually began to expand. The light begins to converge towards the final bright spot, climbing up from the feet, to the limbs, face, and even Rahim. Everyone was covered in light. It looked as if the light had melted into his body. The four of them all stared at it. Yuan Faren's hand recording the video almost couldn't hold the phone steady. What is this? In just a few minutes, Zhang Fangyan felt that his world was about to collapse. What is the problem? A weird firearm that can punch a big hole with one shot, a watch that can block bullets. Now, the pentagram not only glows, but also heals wounds. Is this really still the blue star I've lived in for decades? If it goes on like this, you will tell me tomorrow, the aliens have begun to invade, and I will believe it. The other three were also terrified inside, and on the surface they forced their emotions to stabilize. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, it would have been hard for them to believe what was in front of them. Team Yuan. Can this be considered science? Liu Born asked in a low voice. If it is like Rahim's injury, as long as it can be quickly treated in the pentagram for a country, this is a medical miracle. It could even usher in a new era of medical care. Pen Fund Library. Yet, Yuan Faren said after being silent for a while, it's just that it's more like a miracle that combines science and theology. I don't know if there are any side effects. This sentence successfully diverted your attention, and many more side effects have already appeared. Rahim and Zhang Fangyan said before, pentagrams need sacrifice. This alone cannot be accepted in the Dragon Kingdom. The dazzling light lasted for 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, the bright spots began to sink from Rahim's head, then to his limbs, and finally disappeared. From the moment Rahim opened his eyes, the thoughts of the four were, will facial burns really be cured? Facts. It does. Not only was all the treatment completed, but the skin was smoother than before. At this time, Rahim had skin as white and tender as a baby. Yuan Faren couldn't help but touch it. The touch was soft, this skin smooth. Captain, are these all true? Of course. Why don't you come up and touch it too? Touch it, try it. Then, the remaining three couldn't help but get started. Rahim, mind you, I'm also a man. If you are touched like this, other people will see it accidentally, and they will laugh at me. Looking up, he saw Yuan Faren's watch and the oddly shaped firearm behind him. Trembling inwardly, well, when I didn't say it after all, I'm just a poor little captive. After rubbing the dog's head angrily, Yuan Faren's mood gradually calmed down. Zhang Fangyan, I want to ask him something. You can translate it, okay? After communicating, Yuan Faren learned the pentagram pattern requires a specialized conductive device, which requires a large number of sacrifices before it can be activated. Theoretically, the more offerings, the more successful the pentagram healing function from disease to cancer, and these are only the ability of official organizations to produce at the same time. Pentagram has other side effects, varies from person to person. Some people start to look weird, some start to get bloodthirsty. In addition, they are also in the groping test. The whole thing turned out to be weird, especially when Yuan Faren asked the time. They said it started not long ago. Thinking of this mission, Yuan Faren asked, a while ago? Was there a meteor shower in East Afghanistan? Meteor shower, Rahim recalled. Then he answered affirmatively, indeed. I heard that it has not been seen for thousands of years. The three members of the lightsaber team were stunned for a moment, then overjoyed. Pen Fund Library. It seems that everything is right. Looking at it this way, pentagrams are mostly related to meteor showers. Where does the meteor shower fall? After thinking for a while, Rahim said, Bam City. Hearing this name, Zhang Fangyan frowned. The worst thing seems to have happened. Bam City, where's that? Yuan Faren asked. The capital. That is the capital of East Afghanistan. Capital. The three were stunned. Although the military strength of East Afghanistan is not comparable to that of the Dragon Kingdom, but, after all, it is also the capital of a country. Going in like this is not an easy task. Are you going? Liu Born asked. Even a reckless man like him is probably a little cowardly when he hears the location of the capital. If they really want to fight, they are not false. The third energy scale of the blaster gun, the continuous output, is not to be underestimated. The ion energy shield, at the lightsaber base, has no problem with so many salvos of weapons. The key is, this is someone else's territory at that time. The fight is the fight, but not good for running. The lightsaber team that spent so much resources to cultivate can't be dropped by ho-ho like this. Yuan Faren gritted his teeth. First report the situation here and listen to what Li Yonghao has to say. It is good, although they came out, but faced the situation. Still need to report. Bam City is not a small place like the border. You should still be cautious about other people's capitals. Hey, I don't know how the lightsaber team is doing now. Li Yonghao was assured of the abilities of the four, but no news has been sent back yet, and most of them are a little uneasy. Beep. The satellite phone in front of me rang. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 230 Infiltration Plan. Li Yonghao was stunned for a moment, followed by Yixi. The long-awaited call finally came. Hey, how are you doing now? Safe enough. Okay, how is the mission accomplished? All the detained people were rescued, and one of them stayed as an interpreter for us. The remaining 4 were led by Wang Doi to the border. Just when Li Yonghao was about to continue speaking, Yuan Farron spoke first. Judging from the information they have obtained now, the detained personnel are indeed related to meteorites. The main thing involved during this period is the pentagram pattern. The pentagram pattern has a therapeutic effect, but it requires sacrifice. From what we have obtained, the pentagram may be the path to immortality, healing, sacrifice, immortality. In just a few short sentences, the amount of information that exploded was too huge. If heard elsewhere, he will think that the other party is joking, but now, at the meeting of the military leaders some time ago, Alan Tam mentioned it at the meeting. Today's situation is too complicated, and we have to learn to accept all kinds of things that seemed absurd before. With this powerful medicine, he will now believe in everything. Is the news accurate? I saw it with my own eyes. Yuan Farron glanced at Rahim, who was standing beside him, and continued, not only the treatment effect is excellent, I heard that cancer can be cured. It's just, there will be some side effects. Having said that, Yuan Farron paused and said, the address of the meteorite is also clear, but it's just a little troublesome. Trouble? Normally, lightsaber squads don't say trouble unless, indeed, encounter a difficult situation. Where? How troublesome? Bam City, the capital of East Afghanistan. Capital. So, I would like to ask for instructions on what to do with the next mission. It is inferred from common sense that when Wang Doi completes the task of escorting, he will return to the team, but even after returning to the team, there were only 4 of them. If the 4 of them are familiar with the city conditions of Bam City, it is not difficult to penetrate, and the point is, meteorites are related to pentagrams. Not only is the healing effect good, but it may lead to immortality, eternal life. No matter which country it is, it will be included in the most high-end machines. Dense. A team unfamiliar with it. Rain was in the capital, passed through the protection, and finally read the classified documents. The difficulty of the task is exponentially increasing. In other words, it's not a matter of getting the job done. This is a performance to send people's heads. Li Yonghao took a deep breath and said solemnly, wait, first, I will contact Alan Tam, and then give you the mission instructions. Clear? Before, Alan Tam had specially ordered a sentence at the meeting: if there is a difficult situation in the completion of the task, be sure to tell me. Pen Interest Library. Some people were still unconvinced at the time. Everyone is a big boss in the military region. Why should the task be difficult to tell you? Until he said the last sentence. Because, Xu Teng, Professor Xu is on my side. You said, Xu Teng, Professor Xu. That's fine. You can rest assured that if there is difficulty, it will definitely apply with you. Don't think too much. With Professor Xu there, most of the time there will be a solution. Everyone knows that. Xu Teng, Professor Xu, was able to make the entire Dragon Kingdom dedicate resources to him to cultivate. If such people are not worth believing, they don't know who else in the Dragon Kingdom can believe. The phone was transferred through multiple parties, and finally the information came to Xu Teng. At this time, Alan Tam was talking to Xu Teng. So, Professor Xu, what do you think? Xu Teng was startled when he first heard about Yongsheng's information, but later, I heard that it is a way to eternal life. Xu Teng calmed down because the reward blueprint gene potion he got actually had this effect at the beginning. The description of the system was invulnerability to all diseases, prolonging life. The final product is definitely able to cure cancer, as well as various diseases. Compared with East Afghanistan, there are no side effects yet, and, in any case, the pentagram needs to be sacrificed to activate its function, which is somewhat theological judging from the news we have now. The meteorites that landed in the Dragon Country contained Milovsky particles, which were technically related. He also saw some of those oddities under the influence of the badge-inspired explosion mechanical technology. Battleships lined up. So, is the civilization on the meteorite in East Afghanistan different from the civilization on the meteorite in the Dragon Kingdom? One is the technology side, a civilization that is more like a combination of science and theology. From the time point of view, that piece of meteorite has attracted official attention. The above pattern is being parsed, and it has a certain effect, if not through the explosion of inspiration to see those pictures, and there is no system of intimate remarks. Perhaps, Xu Teng will not think so much, but now, the unease began to surface. Civilization invaded and the situation was turbulent. Maybe Blue Star will be in chaos in the near future, not only internal problems but also external problems in this situation. It is not an easy task to preserve the safety of the people of the Dragon Kingdom, even extremely difficult. Therefore, the most important point at present is, we must first figure out what is on the meteorite. You want the lightsaber team to wait for a few days. Don't go to Bam City now. It is good. Alan Tam agreed very readily. He didn't even ask why. He knew that Professor Su's words naturally had his purpose. This is indeed the case. Bam City, the capital meteorite. There will definitely be a lot of protection. These things are not so difficult in front of Xu Teng, because Xu Teng not only has a project of gene medicine, but also another project, genetic biological warrior. Once he was still thinking, now combining the results of this project with the lightsaber squad, there must be unexpected results. Never thought, everything came so suddenly. Then, wait, Xu Teng interrupted Alan Tam and continued, I have 2 projects in the Dragon Academy of Sciences. And I need to trouble Veteran 10 to transfer this project. I can't leave the space base these days. For the projects I haven't finished at the Dragon Academy of Sciences, I want to continue my research at the space base. Tan Yonglin was stunned for a moment, then understood. Presumably the project of the Dragon Academy of Sciences is Professor Su's confidence. Once the project is complete, it's time for the lightsaber squad of 4 to move on. Okay, I see. Professor Su, is there anything else? Trouble 10 is old. Where, when? The phone hung up. Xu Teng was lost in thought as he said, this is Xu Teng's confidence genetic biological warrior, the most suitable for the infiltration plan. Chapter 231. Another day of missing Professor Su. As for the reason Xu Teng said he couldn't leave the space base, that's why the next 3 days are the time for the badge to cool down. Pen Fun Library, using the characteristics of the badge to teach the researchers at the base the anti-gravity engine technology is a top priority, and here, you can continue to brush the contribution value. It is also important to upgrade the system itself. Therefore, in comparison, it is the best situation to transfer the project of the Dragon Academy of Sciences to here. Gene medicine and gene biological warrior. Try to make them within this period of time. If this is done, the unlocking of new blueprints will not take many days. Look at the countdown on the virtual screen. Until the next drawing is unlocked, 12 days. Large weapons, or outer space. Based on these 2 pieces of information, it is still quite exciting. At this time, Yuan Firen, who is waiting, received an instruction from Li Yonghao. Wait a few more days, and the task will be completed. Bam City, the capital of East Afghanistan. Even the regime in front of him jumped backwards. Everything is not so easy right now. Yuan Firen, who couldn't hold back his curiosity, asked, Mr. Li, I want to know the specific situation. Those who are fighting outside, the more information they know, the more favorable the progress of the task completion. This is a normal requirement, not to mention a focused lightsaber squad. It's Professor Su. Your situation was reported to Xu Teng. He personally said to Mr. Tan, let you wait a few more days, and the situation will get better in a few days. It's been a while. Has Xu Teng become a professor? A little surprised, but reasonable only. Even if Xu Teng became an academician, Yuan Firen would not be surprised. The star of the Dragon Kingdom, a district academician, is nothing more than that. If it was someone else, Yuan Firen would get such a big answer. There will be a rift in my heart. What a joke. We are in the capital of East Afghanistan. If you say a word, it will get better after a while. This task, you do. I see why you do scientific research to say such big things, but the speaker is Xu Teng. This sentence alone is enough. Working together not long ago, Yuan Firen knew that the beloved Professor Su was a pure person. Watch worn on hand, ionic energy shield, and behind the back, blaster guns. These are surprisingly easy to use. Just wait a few days. Just the usual little things. Thinking of this, Yuan Firen's mind changed, and he asked, very licking the dog, Mr. Li, can you tell us a little about what project Professor Su has developed this time? Not to mention Yuan Firen, even Li Yonghao himself was curious what kind of project can make Alan Tam so confident. It is a pity that Professor Su's project this time is not with MDM. Thinking of this makes him a little stingy. Why not here with me? Could it be that my Li Yonghao's vase is not fragrant? So, Li Yonghao said angrily, I don't know where you got so many words from. If you want to wait, just wait with peace of mind. As soon as he finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Beep. Hearing the blind tone, Yuan Firen was stunned. What's the matter? Why are you suddenly angry? Strangeness. Liu Born and Tang Yuan looked at the stunned captain, and asked curiously, Captain, what did Mr. Li say? Oh, he wants us to stay for a few days, and then things will be resolved. Real? Hey, why? You don't believe what I said, believe? In letter, that's right, don't ask, shut up, Liu Boran, Tang Yuan. No, the last few words the captain said were more or less personal grudges. The two began to communicate in a low voice, for fear that Yuan Farron would hear it. Captain was scolded. I guess so. Tell me, why does the captain believe so much in what Li Lao said? It is the capital of East Afghanistan. After a while of silence, Liu Boran said, is there a possibility that the captain trusts not Li Yonghao? It's Xu Teng. Tang Yuan understood what the other party didn't say. If it was Xu Teng, the two looked at the blaster gun in front of them and the lightsaber around their waists. This is the most normal choice. Even they would trust Xu Teng like Yuan Farron. So, what new weapons and equipment will they get this time? Thinking of this, the three of them became excited. Only Jiang Fang beside him, Yun and Rahim, find it strange, isn't it? It's said that it's the capital, and you still look so excited. Hey, you must be a little too excited. Dragon Academy of Sciences, Biological Laboratory. At this time, Cheng Duorong and Zhang Yazi were a little excited from the moment Professor Su left. The two of them finally made some progress in their scientific research experiments, analyzing the signs on the genes. It is indeed the batch of experimental mice that we survived. After the analysis of biological enzymes, it was found that the content of methylquinone began to increase, the blood circulation began to accelerate, and the blood supply capacity was greatly improved. From the external performance, the mice were active and resisted in the face of unknown danger sign. Cheng Duorong stared at two dark circles under his eyes, holding the image of the experiment, and began to report the primary goal of the genetic biological warrior project is to create a group of creatures that can be controlled, manipulated, and have a certain survival strength among them. Mice are the primary target of the project experiment. Although Cheng Duorong's report was just these few words, but for the progress of the entire experiment, they took a big step forward. 8 dozen days ago, he absolutely couldn't believe that they could achieve this level by themselves. Especially, the mice faced cats many times their size. And even humans began to show obvious signs of resistance. Unfortunately, the only shortcoming is that it is not yet controllable and can be mobilized through commands. Hey, this experiment is really too difficult for me. Zhang Yazi, who was on the side, patted him on the shoulder and said, what do you say? You are already very strong, okay? You can do this by yourself. You are a scientific research genius. When it comes to genius, the two couldn't help but think of one person, Xu Teng. Professor Su. They had never seen such a strong scientific genius. Another day. I miss Professor Su every day. Hey, do you think Professor Su forgot about this project? How is that possible? What are you talking about? Oh, that's right. Professor Su must be working on a new project. I don't know how his project is going. Yes, I miss Professor Su very much too. Dong dong dong. Suddenly there was an untimely knock on the door. Chapter 232. The interstellar era is not far away. Anyone? Cheng Duorong and Zhang Yazi looked at each other immediately afterwards. The two became nervous. Genetic biological warrior, and gene medicine. These two projects are no joke. Even if two people are sold, it is not worth that much money. Hey, no, this is the Dragon Academy. Something dangerous could happen. Zhang Yazi was the first to react. The reason why he can react is because his major is physics. In this interdisciplinary challenge, his hair was saved. The spirit is not as trans-like as Cheng Duorong. Don't ask, just ask. High-end scientific research talents are often the people closest to cultivating immortals. As for Professor Su, sorry, that's not a normal human anymore. In other words, Xu Teng is the only one in the world for scientific research talents. Yeah, look at me, I'm just doing a scientific research, and I'm starting to be in a trance. Cheng Duorong stared at the two huge dark circles under his eyes. Then, could it be Professor Su? Thinking of this, both of them were excited when Professor Su was there. It was not just a small scientific research together as a team, it's a real quack. After leaving Professor Su, the two discovered that they were gaga. What kind of bullshit? Woohoo, Professor Su finally remembered us. I thought that Professor Su didn't want us anymore. The two excitedly went to open the door. Then, I saw soldiers in neat military uniforms standing outside. No, who are you? Don't you know that knocking on the door can easily disturb other people's thoughts when doing experiments? Although, your behavior is very polite, but don't get in the way of the fact that you annoy me. Just when the three of them were staring at each other, Cheng Duorong spoke first and asked impatiently, who are you? What's the matter here? The soldier on the opposite side saluted first, and then said, may I ask if the two are Cheng Duorong and Zhang Yazi? If you have anything to say, just say it. Our experiment is going to a critical place. We received orders from above. As soon as they heard this way of speaking, the two were annoyed. What does the order you received have to do with us? When you were about to refute it, you heard the last sentence. Ship your project to Xu Teng. Go to Professor Xu, he is already waiting for you in the base. And many more. What did he just say? Professor Xu, the key information is captured at once. Cheng Duorong immediately said politely. You just said that we should go to Professor Xu's side. I heard right. The most excited was Zhang Yazi, who quickly said, yes, you mean that we should go to the base together with a project. In this project, Zhang Yazi is a layman, and his knowledge of physics is of little use. The reason why he was arranged by academician Tuzi was also because he followed Professor Xu to see the scene in order to be able to participate in new projects in the future, to pave the way now. If you can go to the base with Professor Xu, most of them can use your own usefulness and put your physical knowledge aside. Woohoo, I can finally stop paddling and fishing. Well, yes. Can you go now? Because, before the soldier could finish speaking, he was interrupted by two people. What are you talking about? Of course we have time. Wait, we'll pack up now. Yes. How can we let our lovely soldiers catch a cold? It's cold outside in winter. Come in and sit, warrior. I remember that you didn't say that just now. Isn't the experiment at a critical stage and time is tight? The time for the two to pack up was quick. To be precise, since Professor Xu left the project, there has been no breakthrough in their experimental progress. It doesn't matter if you pack or not. The most important thing is to see Professor Xu. As long as there is Professor Xu, our scientific research projects will not be killed. Gene medicine and gene biological warrior. It can be done in minutes. Thinking of this, Cheng Duorong, a biology major, began to rejoice. You can see it in your lifetime. A medicine that protects against all diseases and prolongs life. Also, genetic creature warriors. This thing, just thinking about it is very exciting. Only, is Professor Xu a dreamin'? We are still wondering when we will see him. The next second, someone will come to invite you. A few hours later, the two got out of the car, signed a series of confidentiality agreements saying the appearance of the base was presented in front of the two of them. I'm going. This is the space base, and I just heard that the former head of the base was Teng Xianbang. Teng. Old Teng. There are also famous people in academia. For ordinary researchers, they also have their own idols because doing research is really hard. Those who can make scientific research achievements are all people with great ability, and Teng Xianbang was a senior that most juniors would admire in terms of reputation. It is not much different from Li Rongsheng. When I embarked on the road of scientific research, I was young and able to rise rapidly. The key is that it didn't take much time to become the person in charge of the project. Now he is the chief engineer of the Moon Palace project. The assistant who accompanied him smiled and said, actually, the actual person in charge of the base is not Mr. Teng anymore. Not him anymore. Then, who is that? Excited, Zhang Yazi trembled a little when he spoke. Oh, it's Professor Xu who asked you to come here. Xu Teng. No way. Some time ago, Xu Teng became the youngest professor in the history of the Dragon Academy of Sciences. Even the principal and the troll academician are willing to give up the C position. How long has it been the person in charge of an entire space base has become Professor Xu? Then, if it is calculated like this, has Professor Xu accomplished some amazing feat again? Thinking of this, Zhang Yazi asked in a trembling voice, hello. I would like to ask if Professor Xu has completed a new project. Cheng Duorong next to him also began to listen with his ears. Compared with others, Professor Xu's research projects are often amazing and dazzling. There is a feat of scientific research across the ages. The assistant laughed. Yes, anti-gravity engine. If other people had just entered the base and asked these words, he would not necessarily have said them, but the two people in front of them had been instructed, also signed a non-disclosure agreement. Nothing bad to say. Tell the truth. Anti-gravity engine. The two of them almost straightened their eyes, especially Zhang Yazi. As a scientific researcher in physics, he knows what this means. In a word, the interstellar age is not far away. It seems that I finally don't have to paddle. Chapter 233 Biological Translator. Inside the room, the two were so excited that they couldn't sleep. What Zhang Yazi thought was that I finally didn't need to paddle. At the same time, he also knew good news. He also had the opportunity to participate in the anti-gravity engine project. He is just a little doctor of the Dragon Academy of Sciences, but he has this opportunity. It has to be said that academician Tuzi has nothing to do with anything other than his harsh words. This vision, yes you can. And what makes Cheng Duorong happy is that he can see so many bigwigs. The scope of learning is more intense. You can also see cutting-edge technology. Maybe here, his cutting-edge technology will come out soon. Excited, then, The two did not sleep all night. Drop, drop, drop. As soon as the alarm clock rang, Xu Teng pressed it off. Unlike others, Xu Teng's scientific research path is basically the same: go to bed late at night, rarely stay all night, wake up early in the morning. Scientific research isn't it just quack killing? What an easy thing to do. The assistant just sent a message that the 2 projects of the Dragon Academy of Sciences have been migrated. The 2 assistants are also arranged. As far as the current situation is concerned, the time for the badge to cool down has not yet come. The benefits of going to the anti-gravity engine project are not very big. The 4-person lightsaber team is still waiting in East Afghanistan. Considering all aspects, genetic biological warrior should be the first to carry out. The progress of the project was also submitted through the assistant. Xu Teng pondered while flipping through notes on the progress of the project. Has methyl ketone been produced? The project is progressing well. Xu Teng did not have any requirements for the experimental progress of the 2 assistants in the past 10 days. He has figured out Cheng Duorong's professional details. The basics are solid, and it's hard to break through this one. Therefore, Xu Teng did not have much plans for the progress of the project. What surprised him? Cheng Duorong successfully developed ketone methylide by himself. Biological gene warrior. The key point has been solved by him alone. That's right. When the badge effect can be used, let him stand by and try it. Maybe in the case of a big explosion of inspiration, you can also learn more. What Xu Teng values more is character and what assistants can learn in the future, not how much you can help yourself right now. To tell the truth, according to the characteristics of the system's drawings, no one can be his constant assistant forever. The most terrifying point is this: the speed at which others are thrown away is far greater than the speed at which they accept new knowledge. If you only consider the assistant, then look at it. Change assistants, let their mentality explode. No one can do it faster than me. In the laboratory, Cheng Duorong and Zhang Yazi began to get nervous. 3 days away from the scholars, and treat them with admiration. The 3 days in this sentence means months, or even years, and the project leader, Professor Xu, can really do it for 3 days if it is simply a professor of the Dragon Academy of Sciences. There is not much sense of oppression in this identity. It can be said that the person in charge of the space base, this kind of identity is really oppressive. Even thinking about it, especially Cheng Duorong. He is in charge of this project after all. You said, Professor Xu won't blame me for coming here today. Zhang Yazi, you've said this 30 times. Is there so much? Certainly. That. Just when Cheng Duorong wanted to explain further, there was a bang and the door was pushed open. Xu Teng, wearing a white coat, came in from outside. Xu, Professor Xu, Xu Teng nodded and said calmly, I see the progress of the project. You are doing very well, very good. At this moment, the tension is gone. More than a sense of achievement, a sense of achievement recognized by Professor Xu. Let's continue the experiment, and the topics other than the experiment will be discussed later. Okay, although it's a bit of a surprise, but as expected, there is only one reason for the 2 people's projects to be moved here. Time is tight. That's why there's no need to start crap. Unlike others, Xu Teng can see the progress of the project on the virtual screen. Genetic medicine. The progress of the project is 30%. Genetic biological warrior. The progress of the project is 50%. This is also the work that the system gradually reveals as the energy points increase. Can watching the progress of the experiment, Xu Teng whispered, the purpose of genetic biological warriors is to develop creatures that can be controlled and cultivate them into warriors who can complete their tasks. There are 3 difficulties here. Difficulty 1. Cultivated creatures must be able to control their emotions, especially small creatures, such as mice, often have a sense of fear for creatures larger than themselves. Learning to control one's own fear is a kind of emotion. Difficulty 2. To be able to understand the instructions and know what the task is. Organisms understand simple commands faster, such as sitting, barking, shaking hands. It's not difficult to teach them these commands. It involves knowing the completion of the task, but it is not an easy task. Difficulty 3. Training to become a warrior, in layman's terms, have a certain amount of combat power, and when this kind of combat power is divided, because of different body types, there are also different requirements. Large creatures often need to have enough lethality. Small creatures have sufficient detection capabilities and can be concealed. Now the first question is, controlling one's own emotions is a success. Judging from the guinea pig's body, fear was his main emotion. The above statement of the experimental plan is, after the analysis of biological enzymes, it is concluded that the content of methyl ketone begins to increase, the blood circulation begins to accelerate, and the blood supply capacity is greatly improved. From the external performance point of view, the behavior of the mice is active. On the surface there are signs of defiance against unknown dangers. This is also the reason why the system automatically judges that the completion of the project is 50%. The experimental manual opened a new page, and Cheng Duorong took the initiative to become an assistant again. Xu Teng began. Now we will try to overcome the second difficulty of the biological warrior experiment, making the creatures understand the instructions. Instructional instruction generally begins with a food reward only. Those are some simple instructions. If you add the precondition of completing the task, you cannot use this method. Both of them began to wonder which aspect Professor Xu would take to overcome this problem, and Xu Teng pulled out a blackboard and wrote on it, "By a translator." Chapter 234 God. By a translator? The name sounds awesome and intimidating in scientific research. This is inevitable if other people said the name. The two felt that it was nothing more than that because most of them are fake structures to defraud funds. If it came from Professor Xu's mouth, it would be different sounds like cutting edge blah blah blah. Xu Teng picked up the chalk and continued to write on the blackboard. All creatures have their own brain waves. The purpose of the biological translator is to translate the brain waves of different creatures into words that the creature can understand. Try the means. Use the properties of integrated circuits to convert the words the creature hears into weak electrical signals. Finally translate this weak current signal into a unique current signal, and this unique electrical signal is what the biological population can understand. As lines of clear ideas were written down, the experimental plan and purpose gradually appeared in front of the two assistants. Have to say, this approach is a bit advanced. They couldn't believe it if they hadn't seen it with their own eyes. So, with this thing, we can talk directly to the guinea pig. From the perspective of the experimental scheme, the results are indeed like this. It seems that something is wrong, but after thinking about it, there is nothing wrong after all. It is not uncommon for military missions to require dialogue. Many tasks are not just one sentence: eat, sit, run there, and it will be explained. That is, from the perspective of this project, it is something that can only be done by mixing several kinds of professional knowledge. Integrated circuit. This must be related to the chip. Weak electrical signals are the fusion of biology and physics. Thinking along this line of thought, Zhang Yazi was a little happy. Haha, I didn't expect it. I'm finally going to show off my skills in front of Cheng Duorong. Huh? No. This project seems a bit difficult. The majesty that has just risen has not yet been developed, and it is a little sluggish because Professor Xu's experimental project is not something that ordinary people can handle. So, how should this be done? Roughly speaking, Cheng Duorong understood part of it. Then after thinking about it, I don't seem to understand it completely. Xu Teng, who wrote this, is also thinking. From the overall point of view, the focus now is to classify the sounds of each creature. The mice that have been conducting experiments before are suitable for the infiltration plan of the lightsaber team, so the goal of the biological warrior this time is to process all the information of the mice. Then, Xu Teng began to divide the tasks out. Turning his head to Cheng Duorong, he said, "Your next task is to classify the types of mouse voices." Okay. Cheng Duorong, who received the task, began to prepare. The sounds of living things are roughly divided into courtship, territorial determination, food capture, avoidance from predators or obstacles, pair maintenance, parent-offspring contact, and grouping of creatures. For Cheng Duorong, a biology major, this is not difficult. There are enough experimental groups that can be distinguished from the control group. Coincidentally, there are quite a lot of guinea pigs in the laboratory. On the other hand, Xu Teng also confirmed Zhang Yazi's task as soon as he turned his head. He saw the latter's bright eyes full of curiosity. The doctoral student who has been paddling for nearly a month is finally about to usher in the first highlight moment in his life. Zhang Yazi, you need to make an integrated circuit, something the size of a chip. The main purpose is to convert the sound collected by Cheng Duorong into a weak current. At the same time, it also has a function to make the collected weak currents clearly distinguishable and the machines can identify them. Zhang Yazi agreed excitedly. I must meet Professor Xu's requirements. Actually, this is not an easy task. The weak current collected by the chip is distinguished, but if the accuracy is not enough, the difference at the microamp level will not be recognized for machines. I feel it, but I don't fully feel it. Nothing has changed after arranging the tasks of the two assistants respectively. Xu Teng focused his attention on the group of mice in the experiment again. It's not an easy task if they all send out orders to issue orders one by one. For the entire project volume, it has also increased many times, especially, there must be local mice in the capital of Bam City. In such a big place, these mice in the laboratory alone, I didn't know I was going to find the year of the monkey and the horse moon. Now time is the most important thing. Delay it regardless of the future of the Dragon Kingdom and the progress of the Lightsaber Squad's future mission completion. It is not a smooth thing, so it would be better if I could train someone like an absolute king, so that the local creatures in Bam City could also follow the instructions of the guinea pig. Just thinking of this, the familiar system voice in my mind rang again. Ding, a new side quest has been unlocked. Side quest, the absolute rule of the king. Intimate note, I actually decided to be the strongest king, which must be to make all creatures in Bam City obey my command. Pen Fun Library. Ding, the new blueprint has been unlocked. New blueprint, the deterrent power of the king. Intimate note, wrong, let me explain first, they are the ones who do it first. If you teach theology in the world of science, don't blame me for playing it. This series of system prompt sounds made Xu Teng a little confused. The drawings given by the previous system were all linked to science after all. Contemporary society is based on scientific knowledge as the most basic cornerstone, but the side quests this time around are a little weird, just like the system's intimate remarks suggest. New blueprint, the deterrent power of the king. In every respect, it is related to theology. If you follow the blueprints, you can indeed train a guinea pig to lead Bam City. It's not even a simple matter of leadership. Other creatures can also be affected because the guinea pig will have a deterrent effect, and this deterrence, to a certain extent, is more like the creation of a new species. God, that's right. For most animals, it is God become a god. There is a deterrent then. All the animals around can be led by the guinea pig. From a logical point of view, nothing is wrong, but when you think about it, there seems to be something wrong. Isn't it a good scientific society? Why did the system start to roll up? And even the god of animals was about to come out. Chapter 235, Mythical Biological Enzyme. At this time, Xu Teng routinely thinks of the pentagram in East Afghanistan. Through sacrifice, others can cure disease, cancer, and even the way to eternal life. 4. Generate a new blueprint, the deterrent of the king. Nor is it an unacceptable thing. Is this reasonable? This is very reasonable. Watching Xu Teng enter a state of contemplation, the two little assistants exchanged eyebrows. You said, will Professor Xu produce something unexpected this time? For example, Zhang Yazi raised his eyebrows, very excited. Look, our tasks are all arranged, and some new things can be judged from these details. Looking at Zhang Yazi's confused look, Cheng Duran continued to reason. Look at your face full of question marks. You are really stupid. Let me ask you, what is the name of our project? Genetic warriors. Yes, that is the plan suitable for the guinea pig. Which one do you think it will be? Infiltration. Looking at the size of the guinea pig, Zhang Yazi responded quickly. If you accidentally encounter other creatures, it will be troublesome for the mouse to be eaten. So, there must be a way to increase the strength of the guinea pig. This time Zhang Yazi responded quickly, thinking along this line of thinking. Both of them vaguely guessed what Professor Xu was going to do. The rat carries the knife everywhere looking for the cat. Immediately it was more than just a joke, perhaps a reflection of the real situation. Cheng Duran. If the guinea pig is too good at fighting, what should we do if we can't control it? If you change the place, you will ask this sentence at the Dragon Academy of Sciences. Zhang Yazi would think he must be crazy, but now, look at the plan of the experiment on the blackboard, and the tasks they are assigned to. It's possible that guinea pigs can really fight. Maybe, even tigers, lions and the like that are much bigger than him are nothing more than this. No way. He is Professor Xu, so there must be a way to control it. Just when the two assistants were struggling with the question of whether the guinea pig is too good to fight in the future, Xu Teng, however, found a difference in the system. In the past, the blueprints of the side quests had never been distributed. This time, there is some gold in the drawing colored crystals. Crystal, why does such a thing exist? New messages begin to appear on the system's virtual screen. The deterrent power of the king. Different creatures will use their own sense to mark their territories. When marking their territories, once the territory is marked, for this creature, this is its exclusive territory, and higher creatures are more deterrent to lower creatures. It is often through the transmission of smell that other creatures can feel fear. These odors are generated because of the catalytic action of biological enzymes in the body. The golden crystals are biological enzymes extracted from the bodies of higher organisms. Through the scheme on the drawing, the biological enzyme can be transformed and introduced into the organism. If the imported creature can withstand the transformation of biological enzymes, it will be able to generate the smell of mythical creatures. For other creatures, this is the deterrent of the king. When all the text on the virtual screen is scrolled, Xu Teng was stunned. There are a lot of things in just a few short sentences. First point, although, from the results, the scheme is a bit of a theology. In fact, It is ultimately science. From this it can be inferred that there was once a civilization that was a combination of theology and science and also reached a certain height. The second point, this golden crystal is actually an enzyme extracted from the mythical creature. Speaking of, what are mythical creatures? The name made him a little confused. One final note, with a scheme, if any creatures can afford to live there, doesn't it mean that he can manually mass produce creatures with King's deterrence? The key point is, are there any creatures that can withstand it? Turning his head, Xu Teng looked at the mice in the laboratory with a strange look. At first, he didn't think much about it, but now, you must fight for it. Mouse, what's going on? Suddenly the atmosphere feels a little dignified. There seems to be a bad premonition. Seeing that Professor Xu had ended his state of contemplation, the two assistants encouraged each other and asked, Professor Xu, guinea pig's combat power value is too low. Are you planning to upgrade his combat power value? Yes. Will it be the kind that can beat a tiger? Combat strength? Why do I need to upgrade combat strength? Xu Teng was a little surprised by the sudden questioning of the two. Biological warrior, shouldn't the combat power value be increased? Oh, that, I have a better way. Hearing this, Xu Teng understood the guinea pig's combat power value is indeed too low. If the golden crystal is not obtained from the system, this solution is indeed a point to consider, but it's different now. There are better choices for the biological enzyme crystals obtained by adding drawings. Professor Xu, tell me. Yes, we are very curious. The eyes of the two assistants shone brightly. Xu Teng turned around, took out the white paper and began to draw the drawings in his mind. As the plan began to take shape, the eyes of the two went from incredulous to shocked to finally numb and many more. What do I see? Biological enzymes of mythical creatures. In theory, as long as it can resist the impact of the transformation of biological enzymes in the body, it is possible to mass-produce creatures with deterrent power. This is the crushing of lower creatures by higher creatures. Spiritually makes other creatures fear it instead of persuading through the increase of combat power only. Is there really such a thing in this world? The two began to have questions in their hearts, and then saw Xu Teng pull out some golden crystals from his pocket. Is this the biological enzyme of higher organisms? Where did Professor Xu get it? Big questions popped up on the small heads of the two of them. Cheng Duorong, would you like to ask? Zhang, yes, he made a cut. Is it necessary? Yes, is it necessary? Not everyone has a secret of existence. If Professor Xu didn't say it, why should they ask? No matter from any point of view, Professor Xu will not do anything out of the ordinary. I can always trust Professor Xu. The two of them went about their task wisely. From the various design patterns just now, they will understand Professor Xu's experiment is not something they can interfere with. The experiment to transform the myth biological enzyme has officially started. Chapter 236 Experiments on Biological Enzymes. The drawings given by the system are for devices. Xu Teng looked at the drawing and meditated. It is not an easy task to inject mythical biological enzymes into other organisms. To be precise, it needs to get rid of the toxicity, make it milder, and apply to other creatures. The drawings given by the system have such performance. Title: Equality of all living beings with biological enzymes. Hearing this name, Xu Teng felt a little strange in his heart. Did the system learn some strange vocabulary on the internet behind its back? Nothing seems wrong when you think about it. Nothing is right. Equality of all living beings of biological enzymes, divided into two parts. Part: there is a cylindrical device. Put the golden crystal in it. The role played is to wash away the toxicity of the biological enzyme, and at the same time activate the biological enzyme to restore a certain activity. The other part is a square device. The role played here is transform into the type suitable for the current creature. The link between the two devices is a fully enclosed metal cylinder. Prevent gas from entering to disturb the progress of activation. Today, Xu Teng's scientific research level has long been beyond the level that ordinary people can achieve with drawings. There are materials. The speed at which the device was made was almost stunned by the two assistants around. Dong dong dong, blah blah blah. The operating sounds of different machines caused the two to turn their heads. I seem to have seen the golden brilliance generated when Professor Xu controlled a machine. I saw that too. I thought I was dazzled. The effect of the badge is permanent. Every activation, the effect is to subtly change Xu Teng's physique, and Xu Teng, the party involved, didn't know this. Only, it's a pity in my heart. It would be nice if emblem, golden blueprint, could be triggered. Actually, it has been triggered in another way on the virtual screen. The progress of the production of the device is always displayed. Project completion: 30%, 5 minutes later. Project completion: 50%. Although the production progress in the front was a bit slow, it can be carried out to the later stage. Production progress began to appear. That's why the two assistants saw the golden light. That's an attack. 15 minutes later. Project completion. 100%. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the device, the equality of all living beings with biological enzymes. Intimate remarks. If there is a creature that can survive the stage of equality of all beings, it will immediately evolve into the king's disdain for the world. From the intimate remarks, it should mean that if you can withstand the transformation of biological enzymes, you will be able to gain the deterrent power of the king. Now, it's time to try the device's success. Xu Teng took out a golden biological enzyme from his pocket and put it into the cylindrical device. If there is no systematic prompt, Xu Teng will only put the golden crystal in after the test is completed only. Intimate remarks have already explained the success of the device. There is no need to do more. Boom. The device begins to close. Press the upper button and the machine runs buzzing. The sound goes from small to loud, and finally tends to be stable. Xu Teng, who was the client, had a calm expression on his face, while the two assistants standing beside him did not close their mouths. This is what the machine means to succeed, should be. So, we might meet a legendary guinea pig today. Big, probably. It only takes half an hour to transition from dream to reality. Okay, science is really easy. That's right. With Professor Xu, we are quacks. Just when the two were thinking, suddenly a voice sounded. Bang, beep. The green light above the machine came on. This is the meaning of successful production of biological enzymes. Walking to the front of the square device, Xu Teng chose the family of mice. Whoa. Leave out the golden liquid, divide it into parts and give it to the two people standing next to it. Feed the liquid to all the mice in the lab. Observe and record their condition. Okay, the two took it with trembling hands. Today, it may be the moment when a new species is born. By the way, the sign of a successful experiment is that the surrounding mice suddenly feel afraid of one of them. There are many specific manifestations: fear, list in words, trembling, etc. Professor Xu, I understand. Xu Teng took out some potions from his pocket. If you find a successful example, inject the medicine in your hand into the mouse. It can temporarily suppress his biological enzymes, leaving him in a situation where he can't break down new products. Understood? Seeing the figures of the two leaving, Xu Teng went on a new mission: how to make them understand the instructions. The two people holding the mythical biological enzyme potion began to communicate in a low voice. You say, can we see the birth of a new species today? Cheng Duorong's eyes began to glow with golden stars. As a biology major, there is nothing more exciting than seeing the birth of a new species. Please. It is super cool to be able to synthesize powerful new biological species in the laboratory. It might work. Zhang Yazi, a physics major, does not understand professional knowledge. He just thought that a guinea pig with the majesty of a king is a rare thing in this life. Even species like tigers will fall at its feet. Exciting to think about. Well, in the ketone methylation test some time ago, wasn't there a mouse that was particularly active? Where did it go? I found it. Holding the back of his neck with one hand, Cheng Duorong found the guinea pig he was looking for. Hit it for a will, squeaked the guinea pig. Who has been given high hopes? Screamed Cheng Duorong. Nodded with satisfaction. Yes, very energetic. No wonder, the activity of methylquinone is so high in your body. On the other hand, Zhang Yazi injected the medicine into a silent mouse. The one I have in my hand is much worse than yours. When all the medicines were injected into the mouse, the two began to stare at the various instruments beside them. Xu Teng told them the stage when biological enzymes work, the heart rate will increase rapidly, and then it will drop to an abnormal value, accompanied by the external performance. The mice went from violent to calm. It's like someone hitting the jackpot only to be told you've exceeded the time to claim it. Ups and downs, began to doubt life. Look, there is a reaction, Cheng Duorong exclaimed in surprise. Didn't expect everything to come so quickly. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 237 International News. I thought it would take some time for the medicine to take effect, and it doesn't take long now. It directly enters the thermodrip, an instrument that tests the heart rate. The time to issue an alarm before the experiment. Cheng Duorong set a normal heart rate value on the instrument above the heart rate value. The instrument will emit a harsh alarm sound. This is to remind researchers to pay attention. Cheng Duorong stared at the instrument in front of him, not daring to exhale. Just like what Professor Xu said, the initial heart rate will rise sharply. The production of methylquinone has also increased. The blood vessels have begun to expand, and the blood supply capacity has skyrocketed. The spirit of the mice began to appear manic, although, The guinea pig in front of him is not the one that Cheng Duorong values, but from Professor Xu's point of view, the medicine created by crystal fusion has the opportunity to mass-produce mice that can produce the deterrent power of kings. Will this be the first one? As soon as the thought came to mind, an unexpected situation appeared. Squeak, squeak. The last long note dragged out. The heart rate dropped immediately, the blood vessels ruptured, and red spots began to appear on the surface of the mouse. He staggered a few steps and fell to the ground. The first experimental mouse failed. The tense mood was relieved at once. Cheng Duorong began to exhale. Hey! The deterrent power of mythical creatures is indeed not so easy to obtain. Drop, drop, drop. Just thinking about it, the instrument started to call the police again. After that, Cheng Duorong's mood was the same as that of the instrument, and he began to go up and down every time there is hope. But in the end it is disappointing. Looking at the guinea pigs who died violently in the laboratory, Cheng Duorong was mixed with 5 flavors, not the last one. Drop, drop, drop. Turning his head, Cheng Duorong saw that the guinea pig he had high hopes for had also come to this step. The heart rate rose rapidly, and the dong 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 hammered like a war drum. As expected of you, you were the one who produced the most methyl ketones in a group of mice. Not only is it greatly surpassed by others, but for other mice, it is even several times more. The blood vessels swell, and the flow rate begins to increase. The hind limbs of the mouse began to be thick, and the forelimbs were raised, slowly forming a standing appearance. I'm going a bit fierce. It's about to stand up. Deterrence, the king's deterrence, isn't it? Before he could finish speaking, the standing mouse fell backwards and fell to the ground. The rate of the heartbeat began to drop rapidly. At this moment immediately fell into the abnormal range. The atmosphere became awkward for a while. I have been looking forward to riding a horse for so long, but what did you show me at the last moment? That's it. What the hell? Even Zhang Yuzi, who stepped forward, was stunned. Seems to be in a bad mood now. What should I do? At this moment, Cheng Duorong turned his head and looked at the person who came and asked with burning eyes, "What are you doing?" His tone was somewhat serious, with a hint of unhappiness. "Oh, I'm just asking you. It's not time for lunch. Why don't we go to dinner together?" Cheng Duorong originally wanted to say, "I'm not hungry when I think about it. This is in the aerospace base. Not in the Dragon Academy of Sciences." Have not eaten the words inside the base. "You're not hungry? Then forget it." "No, what I want to say is, let's go together." Although the canteen of the Dragon Academy is good, but if compared with professional aerospace bases, it is still a lot worse. It was the first time for the two of them to have dinner at a base of this size, and they were somewhat excited. Turn around. If you see a scientific researcher who is eating a good meal not far away, he will stop by Professor Xu to say hello, even if they were psychologically prepared. The two of them were still somewhat shocked when they actually saw the scene. The scientific researchers in the base are not ordinary people. Once a genius, in front of Professor Xu, you can actually put down your body like this. "Hey, I heard that Professor Xu is still here because he wants to teach the rest of the base to learn the technology of anti-gravity engine. I heard that too. Teaching is not an easy task. Everyone's talent is fixed at birth. If you want other people in the base to learn it, it is equivalent to breaking through your own talent." Then I thought, what can Professor Xu do? There are experiments that make the creatures like mice have a deterrent effect within half an hour. Let two know. The distance between fantasy and reality is so close that, the mere anti-gravity engine project, too, I heard that the day after tomorrow is the time for Professor Xu to teach. I'm excited. That is, maybe our experiments can also make great progress. Forget it. Don't think about it. Let's cook. Yes, a researcher who is not active when cooking is not a good researcher. Makes sense. Having said that, both of them turned to look at Professor Xu, who was sitting not far away. The latter is actively coping with a meal in front of him. Summer Palace Tabe chicken. Pieces of chicken were stacked in the pot, and some shredded potatoes were placed on top, garnished with green vegetables and shredded red peppers. The color matching of the food and the background of the white plate are suitable. Sensually very nice. Take a piece into your mouth with chopsticks. Kakuka. The chicken skin is very crispy, with a hint of sweetness. Hey, the chicken in it is still boneless, and the juice is splattered. The meat is very elastic, with the aroma of rice wine. The aroma of the wine is not heavy, and it is used for seasoning. Chew it carefully, and it has a bit of saltiness at the back. One word. Absolutely. Turn around and face the other dish in front of you. Jiangnan Longsu fish, silk white shredded fish with some pickled peppers and green veggies. A clip, a clear and distinct fish silk came into view. No matter how you look at it, it gives a sense of beauty. The fish used as the material is mandarin fish. Cut the fish into shreds, put it into the water, and add ginger pieces to remove the fishy smell. After removing the fishy smell, add the gorgonian powder, Fix it into shape, put it in the pot to stir fry, and then add some sesame oil. The fish is tender and elastic, and the seasonings added to it are also suitable for the mouth. Yes, it's really delicious. Today's two dishes are very tasty after eating. Pick up the small bowl next to you inside a soup. Pork ribs and seaweed soup. The ribs are fresh, the meat is greasy and the soup is fresh and strong. Take a sip and eat some kelp. Not bad. Hiccuping, Xu Teng began to think, in the area of food, there shouldn't be a better place than Dragon Country. At this time, new news is scrolling on the screen in the lobby. Next, play today's international news. Chapter 238. Waiting online. Very urgent. Inside the base, even in the cafeteria, there is a habit of broadcasting news because people here are doing national affairs. News is one way to know about the current situation. Pretty Country announced today that it will work hard to find alien civilizations in the next period of time. They claim to have found traces of alien civilization, launched a new type of aircraft into space, and placed the latest broadcaster above. All the different frequencies are broadcasting general information about civilizations, making sure that as long as any civilization receives it, they can get news from it, for the people inside the base. This news did not attract much attention. It is not uncommon to be committed to finding a civilization outside the blue star. A few years ago, various countries were doing this kind of thing. After civilization reaches a certain height and has the ability to enter outer space, it will not be reconciled that only one civilization exists in such a vast place as the universe. But in Xu Teng's eyes, this has another meaning. It seems that the beautiful country has indeed found something valuable in the meteorite. It's just not clear. Could it have something to do with pentagrams or Milovsky particles? The meteorites that fell in the Dragon Kingdom and those in East Afghanistan can basically be determined to be two different civilizations. If beautiful country is another kind, there will be three different civilizations in front of you. According to a reporter from the front, the current situation in East Afghanistan is not stable, and there are new forces secretly creating chaos. As soon as the picture turned, the reporter stood in front of the camera holding the microphone and said solemnly, according to the current official report, the source of the new forces is not clear, and a certain number of people have disappeared in the place where they are located. A witness reported to the police that they saw a group of people who had attacked the local homeless crowd late at night. A certain number of people have disappeared, and the homeless people have been attacked. Hearing the appearance of these keywords, Xu Teng understood definitely something to do with sacrifice and the pentagram. Hey, I hope that in this chaotic era, I can make Longo settle down. Xu Teng sighed and began to clear the plate in front of him. The time is the most pressing, and the lightsaber squad is still waiting ahead. Cheng Duorong and Zhang Yazi, who are sitting not far away, also quickly pack their plates. The boss has finished eating. As the younger brother, they can't dare to neglect. Although Professor Su didn't say anything, the two of them knew very well the project designed by the biological warrior is urgent, otherwise it will not be moved from the Dragon Academy to the space base. In the laboratory, Cheng Duorong gave Zhang Yazi the USB flash drive that had collected the mouse's voice before. The voices are all here, and all the useless ones have been shaved off by me. The rest are roughly divided into categories. Each sound type is annotated, and you can see what it means by looking at the notes. The two have also been following Xu Teng for a while, and they have no idea what to do in the experiment. Not only has the level of scientific research improved, but attitudes have also changed a lot. Okay, this is very nice. I like to do experiments with teammates like this, Zhang Yazi replied while screwing the screws. The thing in front of you is the thing that Professor Su asked for. No, Gaga is easy to use, and my strength is worthy of your confidence. When Xu Teng assigned tasks to the two, a rough plan and drawings were also made. Although the speed of the two of them is not as high as Xu Teng's, but after all, he is a doctoral student of the Dragon Academy of Sciences, and he is still highly expected by his supervisor in half a day. Everything needed was almost done. Seeing Zhang Yazi's equipment, Cheng Duorong sighed. Hey, it would be great if my guinea pig also evolved. What? Don't you have a very important one? Zhang Yazi paused for a while, and then began to gesture. I remember, you said that it was the guinea pig who produced more methyl ketones. Oh, it's gone. Pen Fun Library gone. Zhang Yazi was stunned for a while, before he understood what the opposite side meant. Just wanted to comfort. Suddenly a strange feeling arises. It's like something born in a laboratory that can't be ignored. Squeaky. The guinea pigs that were still alive in the laboratory instantly fell into panic. Obviously everyone is a different species, but at this moment they feel the same emotion. Something has come out. Next second, Squeak with a long cry. All the mice in the laboratory stopped screaming and fell to the ground. Congratulate like a servant. His own emperor began to go out. What's going on here? Zhang Yazi hasn't reacted yet. Cheng Duorong called out directly. Fuck, out, appeared. Cheng, successful. What are you talking about? Can't you make it clearer? Is there any? Halfway through his words, he realized Cheng Duorong's back hurriedly running out. Crystals of mythical creatures, fused the deterrent power of the king finally came into being when Zhang Yazi ran over out of breath. He saw an astonishing scene in the training cabin in front of him. A white mouse was standing back and fighting, with a golden light all over his body, like an emperor accepting the crawling of other white mice in the training cabin. Turning his head slowly, he looked towards Zhang Yazi. At this moment, he felt that something seemed to be hid in his heart at that moment. The next second it was back to normal. I'll go. What the hell is going on with this thing? Is it a guinea pig? Zhang Yazi stammered. Mad. It looked at me, and I felt a sense of fear. This Nima is outrageous. I never dreamed that one day, the little guinea pig turned his head and glared at you, and he couldn't even walk smoothly. Sure enough, biology majors are monsters someday. A creature that can destroy Blue Star will be created, or our physics majors will. For example, people like Professor Xu are so real that the civilization of the Dragon Kingdom is almost in line with the galaxy. Yes, it should be counted. I don't know, this is the first time I have experienced such a thing. Cheng Duorong started to stutter when he spoke. He also wrote the medicine that Professor Xu gave him, which Xu Teng said before, if the biological enzyme is successfully transformed in the body and the situation on the spot is unexpected, the medicine he gave can be used. This agent can temporarily suppress the activity of biological enzymes in the body, making it unremarkable. Cheng Duorong was still thinking, what a big deal, isn't it a biological enzyme? Now, I was suppressed by a guinea pig, and I was not very familiar with it. What to do? Wait online. Very urgent. Chapter 239. Give you a needle. The two looked at each other. Strange things happen every year, especially this year. Cheng Duorong had never thought in his life that he could see a guinea pig with golden light all over his body between the eyebrows and eyes. There is an aura that makes all living beings submit. Aren't you going to do something? When the golden light gradually introverted into the mouse's body, Zhang Yazi asked his companions in his memory. Professor Xu gave him the potion. He also said the word repression. I never imagined that things would develop so quickly. The only thing I didn't expect was that someone was cowardly. I kinda. Gan, the guinea pig's momentum is too strong, and Cheng Duorong has not yet reacted. Forget it. I'll come. Zhang Yazi, who believed in materialism, began to search the former's body after reacting. Left pocket. The medicine is contained in a needle-shaped syringe, which is blue. When Henry Zhang walked towards the guinea pig with the syringe, the latter seemed to have noticed something. Squeak. Why? Don't think it's called. Before the words were finished, all the mice in the laboratory began to cry. Squeak, squeak, squeak. This is. Both of them stared blankly, recalling what Professor Xu once said to them. Biological enzymes, once activated and transformed into corresponding substances in living organisms, will have the deterrent power of kings. That's it, the king's deterrent. It didn't take long before all the guinea pigs around listened to its orders. Bang, bang, bang. Most of the guinea pigs began to slam into the experimental cabin. Their expressions were hideous, and their eyes began to turn red. Obviously it is a small creature. How can it have such a strong force? Some of them started bleeding and didn't stop. Hurry up. Cheng Duorong became anxious. Things are a bit beyond his expectations. If he can't control the situation in time, something bad might happen. Zhang Yazi, who had reacted, took the syringe and rushed directly to the front of the experimental cabin. Open the hatch, and with a boom, it is a needle to the mouse inside a brush. The medicine in the needle can be injected into the smile inside the mouse. After the injection, Zhang Yazi began to step back and carefully observe the current situation of the mouse. Once a bad situation occurs, he plans to run to Professor Xu for help. Look, something has changed. Cheng Duorong, who had been observing the current situation of the mice, shouted as the blue potion penetrated into the mouse's body. The golden status quo began to disappear, starting with the eyeballs. The gold fades and returns to normal color. The hind legs are slowly unable to stand upright. With a boom, it turned into the appearance of being on all fours again. The group of guinea pigs, which was still manic, immediately became quiet. I'll go. So useful. Just now, the guinea pig, who was thinking about the air in seconds, was lying on the ground in the experimental cabin. Squeak. Mouse. Amazing. Even if Professor Xu is not present, he can completely control this situation. Blue potion, forever God for a while, no matter what you are. Just be honest with me. Che, this little guy is still crazy with me. You can show it to me again. In the last second, how cowardly Cheng Duorong was at this moment, how crazy he was. Why don't you talk? Now I know I'm afraid. Squeak. What? You dare to murder me? Seeing one person and one mouse arguing. Zhang Yazi had a headache. I wonder how Professor Xu's biotranslator is doing. In the lab on the other side, Xu Teng stared at a blackboard and began to stare in a daze. The conversion of biological enzymes does not take much time. Lift the watch on your wrist and look at the current clock. From the beginning of the experiment until now, mice suitable for biological enzymes should appear. At the beginning of the experiment, Xu Teng looked at the monitoring images of all the experimental mice and various experimental parameters because the physical fitness is strengthened. The monitoring images can be played at several times the normal speed. The rat with enhanced methylation ketone production that Cheng Duorong valued would not be the final adapted individual. On the contrary, another guinea pig who is accustomed to staying in the corner silently will become the target of success. They should be frightened when they meet for the first time. It's just that there is a blue potion, and it won't appear. Question. Just one stitch and you're good. At this point, the project progress on the system virtual screen jumped again. Project. Genetic Biological Warrior, completed project progress. 60%, it seems to be the same as I guessed. So, the biological translator is a problem of a critical nature. To be able to understand the instructions, can become a qualified soldier, and these, as long as there is a biological translator, are the keys to achieve. In fact, Xu Teng thought about it a lot and listed the formula on the blackboard. In the end it was denied. Is there really no way? No, there must be an idea that can be realized. Rubbing his chin, Xu Teng began to draw on the drawing. The biological translator essentially transforms a voice that can express emotions into a voice that another creature can understand. If there are similar emotions on the frequency, it can be directly translated. For example, the sound of the smallest white rat when he is confused can be translated. What do you mean? According to this line of thinking, it is like a line connecting the originally messy thoughts in my mind. By the way, let's start with the sound collected by Cheng Duorong. Turn on the projector and insert a voice shared in Cheng Duorong's USB flash drive. Looking at the types and meanings of the marked voices, Xu Teng pondered. Yes, that's the way of thinking. The pen in his hand has never stopped, and he has been drawing the structural diagram and schematic diagram of the plan at this time. Xu Teng felt that inspiration kept coming. This is also the effect transformation formed after the badge is activated, which makes the host's thinking broader. After listening to the analysis of the USB flash drive, Xu Teng lowered his head and saw that the structure diagram and schematic diagram of the scheme on the paper had already been written down. I wrote so much? Xu Teng was surprised when he saw it pick up the drawing and start the analysis from scratch, not letting go of every detail, and start speculating the specific process in your mind. Well, the principle here is not wrong, it can be realized. This is also true. The data can be seen to be really perfect. The moment he put down the drawing, Xu Teng's face was full of joy. By a translator, will complete. Chapter 240 Low-Level Logic. In the drawings drawn under the burst of inspiration, various principles have been confirmed. It can indeed be produced in real life. Moreover, it is not difficult to manufacture with Xu Teng's speed. It didn't take long. When weak creatures suddenly gain strength, they fall into a kind of arrogance. On the whole, except for heaven and earth, Lao Tzu is invincible in the world. Even if the biotranslator is directly installed, the effect will not be very good. Maybe I will give the mouse another injection of antipyretic to let him know the sinister society. In order to prevent similar situations from recurring, Xu Teng began to add absolute instructions to the underlying logic of the biological translator. After a little thought, absolute instructions. Follow Professor Xu's instructions and focus on completing tasks. Looking at the incoming command, Xu Teng exhaled. In that case, there should be no problem. Pick up the materials beside you, and skillfully control various machines. Stab, stab, blah blah blah. All kinds of sparks began to fly, and the reason was, Xu Teng's speed was too fast. Such a fast frequency is difficult to detect with the naked eye. Inside the lab on the other side, the two assistants were staring at each other. Why don't I call Professor Xu over here? Cheng Duorong looked a little hesitant and asked uncertainly, are you sure you want to call? If not, what if I disturb Professor Xu's experiment? In the base, Xu Teng's experiments are in the first echelon. There's nothing wrong with disturbing anyone's experiments, not if it's Xu Teng. Then, are we here to watch? One needle down. Although the guinea pig is no longer so arrogant, but being suppressed does not mean that there are no biological enzymes. Just being stared at by the guinea pig made Cheng Duorong feel a little uncomfortable unexpectedly. I have been in the biology major for so long I was almost scared by a guinea pig. Wait, Professor Xu will be here soon. The words are not over yet. With a click, The door in front of him was pushed open. Xu Teng in a white coat appeared in front of the two of them. Professor Xu, the biological enzyme conversion has been successful. A suitable mouse host appears. Cheng Duorong hurried forward to report the good news of the experiment. Xu Teng nodded, turned to look at the guinea pig behind it and said, "You mean it?" "Yes." After answering, Cheng Duorong felt that something was wrong. "I have never reported to Professor Xu. How did he know it was this one at this time?" Thinking of the picture of Professor Xu handing the blue potion to him, an idea popped up. "Professor Xu, this isn't what you counted." Xu Teng raised his head and patted the former's shoulder. "If you count it, the words are wrong. I have seen all the surveillance images and various experimental data of your laboratory before. After scientific calculations, the mouse behind you has the highest evolutionary success rate. As for the one you fancy, the success rate is actually very low." Cheng Duorong, what can I say? I originally thought that the results of the experiments were random, but I didn't expect that someone had predicted the results with their super calculation ability. Then, that blue potion, well, yes. It is the first time to face the products of mythical creatures, even if they are aliens in the laboratory. You should not have too much experience in dealing with them. That injection of blue medicine is for you to deal with emergencies. Come on, you really used it? Looking at the guinea pig crawling in the experimental cabin, Xu Teng laughed. Cheng Duorong, is this really science? I always have a weird feeling. Zhang Yuzi, don't say anything, just one sentence. Professor Xu is amazing. The two assistants gave way to Xu Teng. This time, Professor Xu entered the laboratory and took another thing from the sensory point of view. It is a tiny chip pen. Fun Liberizo? Is this a biological translator? For Project Genetic Biological Warrior, this is the last key piece of the puzzle. Only when this one is spliced, the project is completely completed. All that is needed is a little bit of nuanced additions. Squeak. Watching the stranger walk in, the mouse whose biological enzyme activity was restricted was a little scared. Unlike others, the person in front of him gave him a different aura. It's like a vortex that can't see the end, can swallow everything in it. Squeaky it's a little scared as he stepped back. He was caught by an outstretched hand, but immediately afterwards, a small piece of thing was absorbed on his body. Little things start to merge with it. "What did you do to me?" A jerky tone suddenly emerged from the quiet laboratory. Listen carefully, it doesn't sound like a human voice. Hoarse and long. The two assistants stared blankly at the scientist. What is this? What operation in the body that makes the sound is also caught in a doubtful life. In the next second, a sentence came out. "Fuck, how can I speak?" Cheng Duorong, Zhang Yuzi, what's the matter? This little guinea pig is a little bit rude. Why did he learn the quintessence of the country as soon as he learned how to speak? Well, the effect is good. It seems that you have been able to communicate with us. For the current situation, Xu Teng said that the biotranslator effect is indeed leveraged. What the hell is going on here? The guinea pig asked. I was still screaming squeaky just now, but now I can communicate with the people in front of me to say that there was something unusual. It was just that he was touched by the person in front of him. Heard two other people say his name. Xu Teng. Professor Xu, you actually said it, and I will tell you the plan in general. So, Xu Teng put the Genetic Biological Warrior Project. The reason why it did this and the front line that it will soon go to has all told the mouse. There is no need to hide this. The situation will not get out of control. Biological translators can have underlying logic. Wait, I'll take it a little longer. After listening to this, the guinea pigs did not feel unacceptable except for the momentary fear of Xu Teng at first. Afterward it was happy to accept everything he said. The two assistants were stunned by the sight. The scene of scolding did not appear like, except for the two of them, the guinea pig is closer to Professor Xu. This is unreasonable. Chapter 241 Su Jiao. The underlying logic in the biological translator is playing a powerful role. It is subtly affecting the thinking of the miss. What Professor Xu said is correct. And be focused on getting the job done. The mythical creature's enzymes are influencing it, allowing it to understand what humans say. Actually, to a certain extent the substance is catalyzed by the mythical biological enzymes. Not only allow it to understand the words spoken by the surrounding humans, but even the learning ability is also rapidly increasing. That's why it can communicate with Xu Teng, and it can also be judged from various aspects. Professor Xu's scientific research level is very strong. Following him will only be a good thing, and definitely not a bad thing. As for Genetic Biological Warrior, this project understandable, isn't it just for the next mission in the self strategy? The guinea pig successfully took the first step. The only bit of dissatisfaction is over in a way. Without Xu Teng, It really wouldn't be where it is now. The mythical biological enzyme has changed its species by a translator, allowing it to communicate. This is also a point that the guinea pig has overlooked. For these reasons, it can carry out its own strategy. Looking at the guinea pig who is trying to sort things out, the expressions of the two assistants were a little subtle. I can't accept the facts in front of me for a while. Tell me, did I see a guinea pig trying to sort out what happened? Zhang Yazi looked at the guinea pig who was thinking about life in the experimental cabin. Looking at Cheng Duorong again, he said affirmatively, yes, that's what happened, but I seem to have a hard time accepting it. Gan, does it really make sense that these things are happening right in front of you? It's really challenging normal people's cognition. Standing by the side, Xu Teng was looking at the mice in the experimental cabin attentively, and said in a low voice, by visual inspection, the biotranslator is far better than I thought. The role of biological enzymes is beyond imagination. The combination of the two seems to have developed an IQ that does not belong to mice. We have to find an opportunity to experiment with the learning ability of the guinea pig, if, and beyond imagination, as long as the creatures that can withstand the ground can be found, a brand new change will be ushered in. Although, the blueprints are only the blueprints awarded by the system practical, but beyond Xu Teng's imagination. The little guinea pig who was watched by everyone raised his head and asked suspiciously when he saw the fiery gazes of the three people around him, what are you doing? Oh, and even the dialect has been adjusted. The mouths of the two assistants couldn't close. Did I compose a song for you, make up the lyrics, and you're almost ready to sing? Cheng Duorong, shut up, I'm not in the mood, I don't want to talk to you, although I can't tell, you're a little bit incredulous, but the truth is indeed, I was scolded by a guinea pig in the laboratory. Turning his head, the guinea pig asked Xu Teng, isn't time tight? Through Xu Teng's general explanation, the guinea pig has already accepted this task in his heart. Originally, he was created in the laboratory for the mission. Really accepted, this time. Not only Cheng Duorong was surprised, but also Zhang Yazi and his impression. If Xu Teng hadn't come up with something to deter him, the order would never have been obeyed so quickly. Now, without saying a few words, the self-guided strategy was completed. Is there really such an obedient, intelligent creature in the world? Well, the combat team ahead has been waiting for you for a few days. If you can learn the knowledge of infiltration and investigation as soon as possible, you can go to East Afghanistan to help them earlier. From this moment on, Xu Teng has regarded it as a real warrior. The definition of a warrior is not just limited to human search and rescue dogs. Even bears with military rank have appeared in history. I see. What do you know? The two assistants were still stunned, and the little white mouse turned around and shouted, hey, what about the two of you? Didn't you hear what Professor Xu said? Why don't you get some knowledge about infiltration and investigation? I don't know. Is there a combat team waiting on the front line? The well-spoken Mandarin is even better than the two of them. Cheng Duorong, Zhang Yazi, the guinea pig began to use standard Mandarin. Call me to do something. This thing tolerate. Not familiar with it? Okay, I'll go right now. Wait for me, I'll go too. Zhang Yazi said that he is not afraid of mice. However, the atmosphere in the laboratory was somewhat heavy. Then I will activate the activity of biological enzymes in your body now, and you will show what you can do. It is good. Base Secretary's office at this time. There were three people in the room. The secretary of the base looked at the two of them and asked in an uncertain tone, is what you told me true? You said that there is a guinea pig who wants to learn about infiltration and investigation. It's been decades since I was born, and I haven't seen any scenes before. Crossed out. Such a scene has never been seen before. If it wasn't for the fact that they were assistants that Professor Xu asked to be transferred, he would have driven them all out long ago. Yes, it's not just about learning, it's actively asking for it. Did the guinea pig speak? No, not possible. On second thought, no. The interstellar era is almost here. The guinea pig's speech is not very normal. What's the name of your project? The secretary asked while dialing the phone. Genetic Warriors. When the instructor in charge of teaching entered the laboratory with a series of videos, it was the most unforgettable moment in my life. On Professor Xu's shoulders stood a small white mouse, his whole body glowing with golden light. On the ground not far away, stood a group of mice orderly, with consistent movements. He is doing radio gymnastics that are familiar to the students of Longo Middle School. Follow the music. Every action is standard and exciting. Even people can't help but applaud. I'm not dreaming. Despair. The tape in his hand fell to the ground. The little guinea pig standing on Professor Xu's shoulder turned back and smiled at a few people who came. Yo, you are finally here. Let me introduce myself to everyone first. My name is Xu Zhao. That's right, the one Xu with the same surname as Professor Xu. Don't forget my name in the future. I will be unhappy. Do you have your own name on the horse? Chapter 242 Another kind of actual measurement. This little white mouse has something, it's much smarter than we thought so. Is this the so-called genetic biological warrior? The instructor who invited him to teach looked at Cheng Duorong next to him with a strange look. Don't look at me. I can't do this kind of technology. It's all up to Professor Su. Instructor, I knew. I just glanced at you, not to ask if you can make this kind of technology instead. I want to ask, can you really stay in the lab? If you want to learn my course, do you have insufficient level? Xu Teng, who was standing on the side, saw it, and said quickly, it's okay. The teaching is just here. Okay again. Only then did Cheng Duorong realize what the instructor's eyes meant when he looked at him. Why do I feel I am the only one in the wounded world in the laboratory? The guinea pig also kills me. Oh no, it is now called Suzhou Cyrillic letter D. W. If you study hard, you should be able to learn quickly with your IQ. Before Xu Teng left the laboratory, he turned his head and ordered, got it. Suzhou's voice finally normalized a little. The forelimbs are lifted and waved with a swish. The surrounding mice scattered and immediately returned to their experimental cabin to stay. Cheng Duorong, Zhang Yuzi. For a while, the two didn't know what to say. No matter how you look at it, without saying a word, you express envy in your heart. If only I had the ability. How about we try it too? It seems really possible. Dangerous thoughts began to appear in their minds. Let's just say, Professor Su also said that if you can live with it, you will gain the deterrent power of the king. When the biological translator fused into Suzhou's body, the system has been prompting the sound of project completion. After leaving the lab, Xu Teng further checked the message prompted by the system. Ding. Project, Genetic Biological Warrior, has been completed. Reward. 10 energy points. Reward. 200 contribution points. Overall project progress. 60%, counting the previous 40 energy points. Now there are 50 energy points in total. Another giant step closer to the wake-up system. This time, the contribution value is not added a lot. With the current contribution value, there are a total of 400 contribution values, 5,000 from the target. There is still a certain distance. Perhaps, this is also related to the generated subtasks, different from the tasks normally distributed by the system. The project of Genetic Biological Warrior is independent from Genetic Medicine, a sub-project generated separately at the beginning. Xu Teng also thought about the contribution points and energy points, whether it would be a little less than normal tasks now. Sure enough, after completing a project, Xu Teng always organizes his thoughts. Tomorrow is the last day of the badge culling time. In the case of the day after tomorrow, when the badge activates the effect, it is not difficult to teach the knowledge of the anti-gravity engine to all the researchers in the base. 12 days later, the system will unlock new weapons. Hint, it's a large weapon, which is something to look forward to. Looking at the memos filled with white paper, Xu Teng stopped. Well, everything is fine. Let me try to conquer it now. The final 40% progress of the overall project, Genetic Medicine. Look at the experimental protocol table in front of you. Just when Xu Teng was addicted to scientific research experiments, an explosion news spread in the space base. Hey, have you heard? The experimental mice have started talking, speaking. Are you sure you are not telling me a fairy tale? Of course not. A bearded researcher next to him stepped forward and said, the key is that this little guinea pig has his own name. I'm going. The names are all here. Brother, you have to pay attention to scientific basis when you speak. We are a space base that can go to the sky, the questioned person explained with a blushing face. How can you contaminate people's innocence out of thin air? Why don't I pay attention to scientific basis? Its name is still called Suzhou. Suzhou, someone responded. Isn't that Professor Su's surname? Bingo. But there is no reward. The three people present felt strange in an instant because they had never heard this voice. Who is talking? My brother is me. Look at your left shoulder. The questioning researcher turned his head and suddenly saw a furry animal standing on his left shoulder. Blink. It is still a furry animal. A mousecan. What? Instant surprise startled everyone. Suzhou, who was standing on its shoulders, also jumped up and said loudly, I'm going. Brother, you scared me. Can you stop screaming so loudly? You? The researcher waited for you for a long time, and finally said angrily, little thing, don't go about your relatives with others. Who is your brother? Your whole family is your brother. Che, incompetent and furious rat. Suzhou jumped down from the ladder's shoulder before landing. A huge white mouse ran over, and Suzhou just jumped on its back with a swish. There was no trace. Did I get scolded by a guinea pig just now? The researchers who responded asked their companions. Seems like it. Don't say it. This little thing is quite standard. The words are a bit interesting. What do you say about the rat? The atmosphere suddenly became awkward. I was scolded by the guinea pig. What kind of experience is the incompetent and furious rat? Gan. Su Zhao whistled and ran wildly inside the base as Xu Teng expected. The product transformed by the mythical biological enzyme is not just to give it the deterrent power of the king, if only to this extent it is not worthy of the results brought about by the explosion of system inspiration. In addition to deterrence, Xu Zhao is also superior in intelligence. The ability to learn is particularly strong. Penetration, an investigative course. It learns very quickly. Let the instructor start video recording while teaching. Babbling? No, I must record the teaching scene. When I meet stupid students in the future, I can say one thing: you are really a jerk, not even a guinea pig. At this time, Xu Zhao always explained next to him, a warrior, a warrior. And my name is Xu Zhao, you can't forget my name. After learning the theoretical knowledge, the next step is the actual test. That's right, just now is Xu Zhao's actual measurement. Judging from the current record, when it is close to others, it has never been discovered by anyone. Chapter 243 Experiment Data Sheet. The other side, the instructor is holding his fort in the monitoring room, and the 5 flavors are mixed, whether it is climbing on someone else, or jumping off the ladder's body after completing the task, driving the guinea pig to catch it. Judging from the surveillance footage, Xu Zhao has done it perfectly. Even if the instructor personally stepped forward, he might not be able to achieve such a smooth movement link. Therefore, he was in a more complicated mood. Muttered, one of the best students I taught was actually a guinea pig. Let Xu Zhao learn theoretical knowledge and put it into practice later. The whole process takes less than 5 hours. The teaching videos are all open. Multiple teaching. When Xu Zhao suddenly stood up and said, now the actual measurement can be carried out, the instructor was still in a state of confusion. What the hell, are you a little too arrogant? Result, combined with the actual measurement tasks adapted from the base, Xu Zhao can be called perfect. The parties never found out how Xu Zhao climbed onto them, and never caught it. If it weren't for Xu Zhao's voice, no one would have felt that Xu Zhao had come. Sizzle, the sound of electricity came from the walkie-talkie. Hey, my dear instructor, have you seen my performance? A serious task is more like a personal show in Xu Zhao's eyes, and, since Xu Zhao was able to speak, it has released itself a bit. Singing and dancing rap. Just one sentence. I am a trainee for 2.5 years, please take care of me, I heard Cheng Duran say, before it didn't speak. It was just an autistic guinea pig who often hid in the corner. Why is there such a big difference before and after? The corner of the instructor's eyes twitched. I see. Ha ha ha. Are you scared by my wonderful performance? I told you, these people can't help me at all. 2 KO by an experimental guinea pig. The instructor's mood was a little tired. So, I can go now. Although Su Chaopi is a skin, he has always been thinking about the frontline tasks in his heart, East Afghanistan, where there are squads waiting to complete their daunting tasks. Wait a minute, and many more. Hearing this sentence, Xu Zhao was not happy. As talented as I am people, oh no, do warriors need to wait? Xu Zhao, who stood upright, made a move with his forelimbs, and the body of the mouse under the seat spun up and down. Immediately afterwards, a large group of mice emerged from all directions doing various actions in front of the camera. Some started punching, some did radio gymnastics, and even some guinea pigs tried to make faces in front of the camera. Instructor, how on earth did it do this part? I didn't even see where these mice came from. Look, you stop talking. Haha, are you surprised where they came from? For the first time, the instructor discovered that the intelligence quotient of creatures is too high, which is not a good thing, especially since it can not only talk, but also try to pinch you from various emotions. Gan, cough, cough. The instructor cleared his throat and tried to change his mind. I guessed from the beginning that you could definitely do this. Really? Xu Zhao said he didn't believe it. He had read it in a book, The Mouth of an Instructor, a Deceiving Ghost. Really? So, I have already prepared the final test. As long as you complete that, you can definitely go to East Afghanistan to participate in the mission, to a certain extent. The instructor did not lie. These actual measurements in the base are indeed not the criteria for judging Xu Zhao's final strength. Its mission on the front lines is to investigate the secrets behind the meteorite from its heavily guarded laboratory. Come on, what is it? Xu Zhao's tone revealed an impatient voice. I will put something meaningful and valuable to you in the base, and as long as you can avoid all surveillance and take out this thing without being discovered, you will pass. Okay, it's a deal. When will it start? The instructor glanced at the watch on his wrist and said, Start in the early morning, boom boom boom, looking at the helicopter flying in the sky, Cheng Duorong was stunned. He just learned a piece of news. The instructor made a bet with Su Zhao as long as the latter can avoid the surveillance in the base and successfully take out something of commemorative value to it without being discovered, Su Zhao will complete his studies at that time. Su Zhao will go to the front line to a team meets. Even if their researchers saw a small white mouse, they didn't pass the test, and the helicopter that was flying in the sky was the reinforcement invited by the instructor. I heard it was a professional army, Brother Zhang. Why, even the mouse made by Professor Su is stronger than me. Cheng Duorong asked this sentence weakly. It's really shocking. Not only can he speak, but his learning ability is so strong, the instructor also personally admitted. Su Zhao is the best student he has ever seen, and if in this actual test, it can complete the task, the most famous person in the school should have Su Zhao's sticker on it. Pen Fun Library. And the latter said, very stinky fart, old man, wait, I'll show you what an incompetent rat is. Cheng Duorong, who was standing beside him at the time, felt that he was being connoted, but he didn't have the face to admit it. Zhang Yazi rubbed his brows, but his companion's voice was not as when he left the Dragon Academy. He was ready to be shocked and doubt his life. Airbase. A lot of talent is not a normal thing at last. The genetic biological warrior, created by Professor Su, can't be compared to the two. The key is that Xu Teng, before he spoke, is still the subject of their experiments. I don't know either. The tired Zhang Yazi decided to change the subject. Hey, by the way, did the instructor come to get something before? Yes, the core of the mission is not something that has commemorative value for Su Zhao. What is that? Hey, it's not a big deal, just a piece of paper. A piece of paper? Zhang Yazi was a little strange. What commemorative meaning can a piece of paper have, huh? Wait, in a way, paper does make sense, don't you mean? Well, Su Zhao didn't have the experimental data sheet before the transformation. Having said that, Zhang Yazi understood Su Zhao as a genetic biological warrior, and he did not transform the previous experimental data sheet. For him, it is indeed of commemorative value. Depend on. Cheng Duorong screamed, scaring Zhang Yazi. What's wrong with you? I seem to have said something important at once. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 244, The Real Hiding Place. Important stuff. Zhang Yazi was baffled by this sudden sentence. Turning his head, looking at the latter's eyes doesn't seem like a joke. Suddenly, something came to mind. You mean Su Zhao, you still don't know what the commemorative thing is? And if you say that, it will definitely know. Well, that's what I meant. No way. Zhang Yazi tilted his head and looked around. There are not so many mice used in the experiment, and it is impossible for it to monitor all places. You forgot. Cheng Duorong raised his head and said faintly, Professor Su once said, once Su Zhao's ability is completed, it can mobilize all creatures. The king's deterrent power is only the original idea of the experiment, and there are still many abilities that have not been stimulated. Buzzing. In the quiet laboratory, the sound of mosquito wings flapping is particularly clear. Where did the mosquitoes come from? The two said a word at the same time, then looked at each other, and both saw shock in each other's eyes. In the middle of the night, the instructor who had just arranged everything was still not relieved. I received a message from my subordinates. Can you say that again? The little brother in uniform wiped the sweat from his forehead with a hand, and said cautiously, news from the original genetic biological warrior group. The news of something of commemorative value is suspected to have been learned by Su Zhao. Instructor, I'm riding a horse. WNM. The time I set the task to start hasn't come yet. Home was stolen. You are really crouching dragons and Phoenixes forged it. Don't be angry. I never thought about relying on these two to keep the secret to a certain extent. Being known by Su Zhao is doomed anyway, since the base is so big. There are more places to hide. Even if you let go and let you find it, it is not so easy. I see. You go down. Okay. The younger brother turned around, as if thinking of something, and immediately added, they also said other news. Instructor, can you finish talking all at once? It makes me very passive. They said that Su Zhao's ability is not only to control mice, but possibly all animals. All animals. Hearing this, the instructor's eyes narrowed. I never imagined that the moment of slap in the face would come so quickly. If so, then things are interesting. Although they leaked something classified, they brought the same classified information. In a way, the information was far more important than the leak. It seems that some plans have to be changed. The next day inside the base is more lively than ever. The most talked about topic is Su Zhao. It's amazing. I heard that it can not only control mice, but also other animals. Woo woo woo. I never imagined that one day I would envy a little white mouse. I'm not the same as you. What I'm thinking is, Professor Su can give me an injection anytime. Gan, brother, you remind me of bad things. I'm going. What do you want to say? I'm talking about becoming a strong needle, with the same ability as Su Zhao. The Genetic Biology Warrior project is a higher priority than other projects without a space base except for the specific operation. Everyone is clear about the general experimental process, especially the medicine prepared by Professor Su. The whole species will be different after that injection. The soul seems to be sublimated. Cut. I'm different. If I find Su Zhao, I will definitely give him good fruit to eat. The surrounding researchers turned their heads and looked at him with strange eyes. This guy just likes to talk a lot. I heard that Su Zhao jumped on his shoulder and called him a brother, and the latter reacted. It's just that Su Zhao can really control all animals. Many people still have unbelievable thoughts in their minds at this time. A humming sound began to appear. Mosquito. Where did the mosquitoes come from? That's right. Didn't the base organize disinfection before? Wait. Didn't we just say that Su Zhao can control all animals? Someone responded, no, it's so fast. The scientific researcher who originally threatened to make it a good fruit to eat began to lose his footing because the mosquito swarm in front of him divided some troops and rushed towards him directly. Again. Why is this little guinea pig so vengeful? I'm just talking about it. Woo! I'll never say hi again. In the monitoring room, the instructor was watching the monitoring screen in front of him intently. It seems that Su Zhao already knew that we discovered one of his abilities, so he didn't pretend at all. Found out so fast. Changed tactics in no time. If the instructor hadn't known who his opponent was, at this moment, he would even have thought it was a wily opponent. Turning around, he ordered to his subordinates, lead a team of people to get the mosquito repellent, and strictly monitor the storage room. Clear. Look, what means do you have? The instructor's eyes began to be unclear just when the order was given. There was an abnormal situation outside the base. Squeak hoo-ha-ho. One after another, the sound began to sound continuously. The people inside the base swear they had never seen so many birds and wild beasts, especially seeing some creatures that are supposed to prey on each other and live in harmony, even cooperating with each other. The instructor is not to mention how surprised. My God. Is this the genetic biological warrior made by Professor Su? It's only one day. The ability can be used so skillfully. Instructor, what should we do? The younger brother is also a little cowardly. Everyone knows that this is an exercise, but when I see so many creatures, I still feel a little bored. Bringing mosquito repellent to get rid of mosquitoes is not a bad thing. There are so many creatures in front of you, you won't really kill them all. Use anesthesia. Hurry. The instructor also knew that Su Zhao's manipulation of them would not really kill the guards in the base. Sizzle. The instructor's walkie-talkie rang. I said, as long as the beast I control is knocked down, what if it is death? Hearing Su Zhao's voice on the walkie-talkie, the former hesitated, then he said, okay. Just as you said. Well, looking at the stopped walkie-talkie, the instructor said in his heart, you absolutely don't know where the real experimental data sheet is placed. Thinking like this, he touched the inside of the pocket next to him with his palm. The guarded place is not the place to put the experimental data sheet, the real hiding place. Chapter 245. Instructor, let it go. The experimental data sheet is placed on the instructor's body. This is the thought that began to change after learning that Su Zhao can control all animals in the base. No place is as safe as putting it on him. The instructor picked up the walkie-talkie and began to convey the order. The person who is attacked by the beast is the target of elimination. Clear. So, now let me see what kind of means you will use to get it. The front door of the base is already a mess. The sound of bang 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 came one after another. All the narcotic bullets were replaced in the barrel, and when they were inserted, all the beasts that were attacking in front fell to the ground. I rely, so there are so many. This number is a bit exaggerated. Leopard, bear, the man behind it turned out to be a guinea pig. It's still the product that was successful in the laboratory yesterday. It's really terrifying. Genetic biological warrior, so fierce, not to mention those scientific researchers enviously wanting to find Professor Su for an injection. Even the special forces like them want to go. If this ability can also be unlocked, wouldn't it be a blast? A big move? What do you want? Roar. The sudden roar made him stunned. Quick, quick, back. The comrades beside him pulled him, blocked, and was thrown directly to the ground. The comrade in arms who was thrown to the ground hit the ground with a hammer and was eliminated if he was not careful. Everyone, step back. The captain issued an order on the walkie. Twucky, the anesthetic is running out of bullets and those beasts controlled by Su Zhao did not fall to the ground much. This is not a good way to waste. Just as everyone stepped back, a large group of birds began to fly towards the depths of the vast hall. Looking at the falling feathers, everyone reacted. Hurry up, stop, don't let them go any further. Unlike outside, when they entered the base, because there were scientific researchers, the team in charge of defense did not dare to shoot directly. Even if the anesthetic bullet hits the scientific researcher, it is not a good thing. Grab it with a net bag, quick, quick. Instructor and Su Zhao have communicated, as long as they are caught with a net bag, they are out of the game. And the bird won't move. Real. At this time, I will lie to you, the captain said. He was very angry. Where did this come from? Stupid. The players who were scolded said they were speechless. Why did I get scolded just now? Obviously I didn't speak. Then, the situation inside the base began to change. A group of special forces in uniform started to catch birds around the world with net pockets. The base is so noisy. After a while of work, they found it. Sadly, is this riding horse really a bird? Did you come to me on purpose to have fun? It's obviously a loach. The instructor, who was watching the screen in the monitoring room, frowned. The situation on the scene was too chaotic, and the multi-party organization was ineffective. Pen fun library bang bang bang. At this point, the surveillance cameras began to black out. When they came in, the first thing they did was to peck all the surveillance footage. The tasks are clear and the division of labor is reasonable. Hey, I should have thought of that. Looking at the darkened camera, the instructor sighed unexpectedly. He still lost a step in the confrontation with Su Zhao. Who would have thought that so many animals could be controlled by Su Zhao? It's not just a team, it's like an army. Pay attention to all units. Hold your ground, and don't panic. The instructor took out the walkie-talkie and said when he heard the order being conveyed layer by layer, he walked to the door and hesitated for a moment with his hand on the doorknob. Will Su Zhao know that I put the experimental data sheet on me? No, I shouldn't know. Maybe it should have guessed. If I don't go out, it will verify his guess from a certain aspect, so, just take a gamble. I still have to go out. After the door was closed, the instructor immediately entered the state. After turning the corner, start arranging various tasks. Don't let your guard down, don't put those beasts in, go and see if the place where the bullets are stored is under control. Be careful, pay attention to all the animals around you, remember all the animals. A series of orders were issued. And the situation at the scene calmed down a little. Keep it that way. A day ago, I was Su Zhao's teacher. How could I be so easily knocked down? At the next corner, the instructor stopped. The sight in front of him made his face twitch. The birds that disappeared before now appeared in front of his eyes, staring neatly in rows at the instructor who had just come over on the other side. The swarm of mosquitoes that suddenly disappeared also buzzed and stared at the instructor again. Counted sizzle. The sound of electricity in the walkie-talkie began to ring. A familiar tone appeared. Ho ha ho ha. I'm dying of laughter. Instructor, you don't really think that I don't know that the experimental data sheet is on you? The next second, the serious tone switches seamlessly. Instructor, stop it. It's all my people outside. How do you play with me? Fuck. One thing to say, where did this dead mouse learn to speak so cheaply? This is the second time that the instructor felt that it was not a pleasant thing to meet students with excellent learning ability. What? It's over. Everything came so suddenly, especially the guards who are guarding the heavy ground are full of confusion. Isn't there the most important thing in this house? All the people looked at each other. The members of the special forces who came by helicopter were even more puzzled. They know the level of the instructors who organized this operation. He is everyone's instructor. Well-deserved. Number 1 actions were formulated and implemented, during which no one questioned because they all have one thought. With the instructor here, what can we lose? It's just the flying dragon riding the face. Will you still lose? Just kidding. Isn't it just a guinea pig who was born for one day? A genetic biological warrior who rides a horse. Then, their faces will be smashed to pieces. Su Zhao is afraid that his face is about to laugh. Inside the lab, Su Zhao was rolling around on the ground, smiling. Ha 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 ha. Professor Su, you didn't see what the instructor's face was like, especially when I said, Instructor, stop, it's all my people outside. The instructor wrote all the shocked expressions on his face. This is the first time I know that I can really know the emotions of others by reading facial expressions. Oh, no, I'm going to twitch with a smile on my face. Chapter 246 Protective Equipment. Xu Teng looked at Xu Zhao, who was rolling on the ground, and fell into contemplation before getting the mythical biological enzyme. It was a very quiet one as a mouse, judging from the surveillance images. It's quite autistic. The only thing that caught Xu Teng's attention, its research data. The outstanding values of all the mice outshine the crowd unexpectedly. Autistic children also have spring, facts have proved. Xu Teng's experience of watching guinea pigs is indeed correct. The data really doesn't lie. Among all the mice in the lab, it became the unique one that is, after becoming a gene warrior, it seems to have awakened different attributes. Weird, he has become a master at singing, dancing and rap. Hey, Professor Xu. Don't look at me like that. Your eyes make people a little scared. You won't want to give me another shot. Xu Zhao stopped rolling on the ground and began to hug his forelegs together. He looks like a desolate prince, shivering in the face of evil forces. The blue potion made it a little scared unexpectedly. One needle down can block its ability. The truth is, the person who gives you ability can also take away your ability. Xu Teng, what the heck? I think if you train it well, Xu Zhao can become an Oscar winner. Maybe it will also gain a large number of fans in the global film and television industry. So, you came to say goodbye to me? Xu Teng quietly changed the subject in silence. That's not right. Speaking of this, Xu Zhao stopped pretending and stopped shivering with a snort. He jumped onto the experimental bench and looked at Xu Teng and said, when the instructor recognized the situation and handed me the experimental data sheet on his body, it proved that I had the ability to get what I wanted from under his nose. If you pass the exam, you will naturally be able to go to East Afghanistan to participate in related operations. So, I came over immediately to say goodbye to you. Although Xu Zhao awakened strange attributes, but I have to say that, to a certain extent, it does a good job. Xu Teng gave it everything, and when it encountered such a big event, the first thing it thought of was Xu Teng looking at Xu Zhao, who was bouncing around on the experimental table, flipping here and there. Xu Teng, there was a strange feeling in my heart to some extent. Xu Zhao is his child. I regard it as a kind of alternative father. I didn't expect that the major issues in life would not be resolved, so I first used biotechnology to create a child who could speak and have super learning ability. Xu Teng, who entered the experimental state, was difficult to be interrupted by outside interference. He did not know what Xu Zhao had called. It was only afterwards that the instructor made a special call to him. The tone was both surprised and happy. I have never seen such a powerful guinea pig. The Special Forces school that has been established for decades has a record that surpasses everyone else today, and for this record, the one who stepped on the horse was actually a guinea pig that was researched in the laboratory. I have learned a lot. Finally, the topic changed. Professor Xu, I beg you, please make sure Xu Zhao survives. Survive? Looking at the jumping Xu Zhao, the former showed a knowing smile. I will naturally try to figure out a way to keep it alive. Come here. Xu Teng greeted Xu Zhao. The latter stopped to flip through the information, turned around and jumped over. Professor Xu, if you have any requirements, even if you tell me, I will do my best. Oh no, I will obey. It is not a good thing to have too much learning ability, and it's for you. Remember, don't take it off no matter what happens. Xu Teng handed a small ring to Xu Zhao. Xu Teng has been thinking since the genetic biology warrior project was completed. Xu Zhao evolved from a guinea pig. Although he can control other animals, due to his size, Xu Zhao's attack power is not that strong. The main purpose is still infiltration plans and detection of intelligence. So, if he encounters other dangers, Xu Zhao cannot resolve them very well. You may not even be able to guarantee your own safety. If the mission is completed in East Afghanistan, it will be gone for the entire Dragon Kingdom. It was a big loss then. Since yesterday, Xu Teng has been preparing something for Xu Zhao to protect himself. Listed programs. There are offensive weapons and defensive weapons. At last, Xu Teng thought of the two weapons he made before: blaster gun and ionic energy shield, one attacking, the other defending, triggered by inspiration. This ring was made by fusion. Professor Xu, what is this? Xu Zhao looked down at the unfamiliar ring. If it was something given to it by other researchers, Xu Zhao might not be able to like it. It can be said that it is Xu Teng's words. It must be fun. There is nothing wrong with Professor Xu's things, and even the base is circulating. Looking for a chance to go to Professor Xu's place to have an injection. Try to see if a new species can be evolved. You drip the blood first, gently biting the forelimb. The wound was smeared on the ring with a base. A strong light lit up the screen on the ring. Starts to light up. Biological information has been bound. Binder, Xu Zhao, activated weapon. Blaster gun, activated weapon. Lightsaber, activated weapon. Ion energy shield. Hearing the sound that kept ringing, Su Zhao was stunned. I couldn't help but let out a foul language. WNM, awesome, turning around, staring at Xu Teng affectionately. Professor Su, I can't repay you. Don't worry, I will definitely come back alive. This guy finally stopped being funny. I'm afraid it will say something else. Xu Teng thought about it for a long time. This is the gift it gave to Su Zhao. Emblem, Magic Reformer, is the same as Emblem, Convergence. Under long-term triggering, it will bring subtle changes to Xu Teng. So, under the addition of 2 badges lightsaber, blaster gun, ion energy shield, Xu Teng has all made miniature versions, although only a scaled-down version, but the core technologies are all in the hands of Xu Teng. In other words, don't look at them just because they are small. The effect is the same. Afraid that Su Zhao would accidentally lose the ring storing the 3 weapons, he thought of a way to directly bind biological genes. Drip the blood on it, and you can bind the relevant personnel. To be specific, Mom no longer has to worry about me losing things. These are the protective items that Xu Teng gave to Su Zhao. Chapter 247 Skynet. Other people's weapons have to be bought. Su Zhao's family is different. Professor Su made it all by himself. The things made are also good to use no matter who you face. It's quack killing. How long have you been gone? Xu Teng couldn't help asking when he saw Su Zhao's jumping and dancing. If such a lively child died on the front line, he would be sad, later. Probably. Su Zhao raised his head and looked at the clock in the laboratory. There's still half an hour. Hey, it's only half an hour. If there was a little more time, Xu Teng would build something for it to use for self-defense. Turning around, Xu Teng began to exhort, when you get to East Afghanistan, don't be too reckless. After all, the place you're going to is Bam, which is someone else's capital. The capital of the enemy is not as talkative as the people at home, and you have to remember that the role of the attacking team is not your responsibility. If there is a problem that cannot be solved, the lightsaber team is there, and they are the main force. Don't take the liberty of acting. The original intention of setting up the Genetic Biological Warrior Project was to let you cooperate with the lightsaber team. Do you understand the meaning of cooperation? It's not for you to take the lead. Infiltration and spying are the most important things. Although I have given you a self-defense weapon, don't be too obsessed with believing in your own weapon, and don't try to challenge what you can't challenge. In the past, Su Zhao's speech was sleazy, and his attitude was mostly cynical because, as the first genetic biological warrior in the Dragon Kingdom, it has a potential value that cannot be underestimated. Su Zhao has such a proud capital, but now, facing Xu Teng, it froze. Listening to the words of concern and exhortation, the serious tone, the emotion of worrying about its future. I don't know what to say. For a while obviously he didn't say anything, but it seemed like everything was said. Opened his mouth, Su Zhao said solemnly, Professor Su, don't worry. My life is precious, and I will never do brainless things. Oh, that's good. When the atmosphere was a little less heavy, Su Zhao said in a low voice, if I can't beat it, I'll run away. The life of the Lord will not be explained there. Look, Su Zhao, who had read the mission file, knew that it was not a child's play mission. Extraterrestrial meteorites can cure cancer and lead to eternal life, not to mention human beings, even if desires as a guinea pig. It is not easy to get key information under the guard of layers. Su Zhao was about to leave, and the news that he was about to go to the front line also spread in the base. The first is to manipulate the mosquitoes to find out what the key information of the mission is, then use mosquito swarms to interfere with scientific researchers, and mobilize birds and beasts to face the special forces when the birds break through the crowd and enter the base. Introduce tactical arrangements to knock out all the shots in the base. Blind all vision inside the base. The instructor who forced a command behind the scenes had to show up. Finally, a net was set up, so that the instructor had to surrender. The active strength of the instructor's subordinates has not been brought into play yet. Task, and immediately the key point is, in the end, no one knew where Su Zhao was at all and what kind of means it used to know that the experimental data sheet was hidden on the instructor. Looking back on the entire mission, Su Zhao, who was behind the scenes, perfectly defeated the instructor who represented the power of human beings, and Su Zhao is only a novice who has learned for a few hours. If not all the scientific researchers in the base saw it with their own eyes and participated in the whole mission in person, I wouldn't believe something so outrageous. I have a question. You said that Su Zhao could mobilize animals to listen to him near the base. If he was in East Afghanistan, would it not work? Why do you say that? Because you said there is such a possibility that the language spoken by the animals in East Afghanistan is not the same language spoken by the Dragon Kingdom. Cheng Duorong, Zhang Yazi, instructor, Gan, it's really shameful to ride a horse. Where's this stupidity? Don't say it's my student. Taking a look, he exhaled. Oh, Not my student. He is a simple scientific researcher, and I heard that he was scolded by Su Zhao for saying something about an incompetent and furious rant. That's fine. There was some commotion ahead, and some voices were vaguely heard. Hey, why are you being so polite? They all came to see me off, and asked me to say, we are all brothers, there is no need to be so polite to each other. Isn't it just a task? Based on my IQ, it's not more than enough. There was still a little worried atmosphere at the scene, but it began to change. The guinea pig actually told me that I am its brother Gan. Should I refute this to maintain my dignity? Obviously what it said seems to be okay, but I feel a little taste fuck. Why I want to refute it? I can't find any favorable evidence points. Woo woo woo. No way. Now the guinea pigs are starting to come out to bully me, weeping. Then, everyone at the scene pretended they didn't hear it. However, the expressions on everyone's faces were obviously a little wrong. The instructor stepped forward and said solemnly, Su Zhao, this time you are going to East Afghanistan on a dangerous mission. Don't take it too seriously. Accidents always come unexpectedly. In so many years of teaching career, Su Zhao is the most gifted disciple he has ever seen. I really don't want to be folded in the front like this. The task of using genetic biological warriors is definitely not that simple. Su Zhao turned his head and looked at the instructor. Another concern is that they have only spent more than a day together. It seems that it is really regarded as a student. Su Zhao slowly raised his hand, and the ring on his hand appeared in everyone's eyes. It's okay, I'll be fine. Look, this is the weapon ring that Professor Su prepared for me, enough for me to keep myself safe. Everyone's eyes ranged from shock to sigh, and finally to numbness. Woo-hoo-woo, I want a ring like this too, produced by Professor Su. It must be a fine product. Well, then pay attention to safety. Seeing the ring on Su Zhao's hand, the instructor's heart dropped. I'm leaving. Well, pay attention to safety. Xu Teng waved his arms and said goodbye to Su Zhao. Rumbling, the helicopter took off from the base and flew into the distance while taking advantage of the darkness. This time, the goal of shipping is a bit special, a guinea pig, and this is Xu Teng's secret weapon for the lightsaber squad ahead, taking advantage of the night. The transport plane will transport Su Zhao to East Afghanistan, with a codename, Skynet. Chapter 248 completely completed. After sending Su Zhao out of the laboratory, Xu Teng returned to his workstation. For him, time is still the most important thing. After the completion of the genetic creature warrior, there are other projects in progress at this point. The progress of the task is being displayed on the virtual screen. Genetic medicine completion progress. 80%. Hey, it seems that the experiment can't be completed today. In Xu Teng's original plan, the experiment of the genetic medicine project was completed today. Tomorrow, the 2 badge cooldowns are over under the blessing of Emblem, Harmony, and Emblem, Magic Reformer. The researchers in the base will definitely complete the final study task. The anti-gravity engine project has really come to an end, and the unlocking of the new blueprint has reached the final countdown. 10 days. Just from the description of the system, he was really looking forward to the final explanation of the drawing outer space. Large weapons. It is estimated that it is an attack weapon, not a shield or the like, if it can be made successfully for the Dragon Kingdom. It will also be a great improvement in military strength. Xu Teng also always had an idea. The system didn't blindly unlock weapons. Since more and more energy points are unlocked, it functions more and more intelligently. Vaguely let him have an opinion. The black technology system will judge according to the situation, and finally unlock the project that matches the current actual situation. The next day, the sun was shining. It is a good weather for the Dragon Kingdom and winter. The atmosphere inside the base also became tense. Yesterday was the day when Su Zhao left, and today is the day when Professor Su gave a lecture. All researchers like the weapons made by Professor Su at the same time. Everyone likes to listen to Professor Su's courses, not for anything else. Just hoping to get a different inspiration in courses taught by other professors. The process of enlightenment is slower and the results are not so obvious, but, in Professor Su's course, the process of inspiration is fast, and even the results come very quickly. You haven't reacted yet, the final result is already in hand. Especially, courses are often the kind that are ahead of their time. This is the anti-gravity engine project. Can an ordinary professor do this? Absolutely impossible. As for why there will be tension in it, that is because frequent mobilizations and broadcasts of various news. Researchers in the space base have access to deeper information a little closer to the international situation. Perhaps chaotic times are coming in the near future. Maybe the war will spread all over the world. Even the Dragon Kingdom is inevitable. Everyone's thoughts are a little deeper and stronger. Work harder, and we must use our abilities to support a sky in the future. Ta-ta-tao. Footsteps sounded from a distance. All the researchers turned their heads silently and looked at the comers familiar with a white shirt, a well-defined face, and firm as young. But not to be ignored, are you all ready? Last night, Xu Teng sent the plan to his assistant in today's speech. Everyone's position is fixed, and even the distance is accurate. There was a distance between everyone so that Xu Teng could pass by. This ensures that the effect triggered by the Xu Teng badge can cover everyone. Emblem, magic reformer, and emblem, integration. The triggering of the double badge is like a powerful dose for all researchers. This is also Xu Teng's confidence. Only in this way, the teaching of the anti-gravity engine can be guaranteed to the greatest extent. Ready? All the researchers raised their heads to answer. It is good. Whether to activate the badge, fusion activation, badge, integrate and enter the countdown. Whether to activate the badge, the magician activation, emblem, magic reformer, enter the countdown. Looking at the countdown on the virtual screen, Xu Teng tidied up his collar. Today, the lesson I'm going to teach you is anti-gravity engines. Everyone knows that this project has two difficulties. One is anti-gravity and the other is the power source for the engine. The former is the key, the latter is the foundation, and the experiments are all solved from the basics. So facing the first problem, in order to solve the energy, we are fortunate to discover a new particle from the extraterrestrial meteorite, the Milovsky particle. Its key. The advantage is that it can emit a huge amount of energy when synthesizing particles. Badge, convergence has been activated, duration, 15 minutes, scope of action, the area of a circle with a radius of 5 meters with itself as the center. Emblem, the magician has been activated, duration, 15 minutes, scope of action, the area of a circle with a radius of 5 meters with itself as the center. Duration, 15 minutes? More than before. Although the scope of action is still the same, it does not affect it. As long as I keep walking, I can reach everyone. Blah blah blah. Xu Teng started walking around like last time. The road that separates everyone is prepared for the current situation. In order to solve the problem of anti-gravity, I thought of using electromagnetic drive to solve it, because Blue Star's force field cannot be changed. All I can do is change the gravity field of the object itself. As we all know, as long as there is a force in the middle of the coil, it can cancel the gravity. For that object, it is equivalent to having no gravity and can levitate the ground, and to do this, just pass the current inside. As Xu Teng walks around, the badge coverage begins to take effect. What? Why do I feel that Professor Su's words are not as difficult to understand as before? Also, it seems that the impulse is coming again. It's this familiar impulse. Great explosion of inspiration, my favorite. Hurry up, this time I must make a big guy based on the anti-gravity engine. At the same time, the list of contribution values is constantly being refreshed. Contribution value obtained. 100, contribution value obtained. 300, contribution value obtained. 500. Total contribution value. 2000. For 15 minutes, Xu Teng didn't stop, always walking and talking. After accurate calculation, the coverage area of the badge was determined to everyone. Emblem, convergence, the duration has expired. Emblem, the magician, the duration has expired. Anti-gravity engine project, completely completed. Chapter 249. Can you be a normal person? When it was completed, the system's prompt sound came out again in Xu Teng's mind. Emblem, fusion has entered the cooling time. Emblem, the magician has entered the cooling time. Intimate remarks, the cooldown time of the badge this time is different from the last time. I didn't expect it. It will not be available until the next project blueprint is unlocked. Intimate note, don't ask, just ask. His charging can't use it until the next project drawing is unlocked. Hearing the system beep, Xu Teng frowned. It will take 11 days to unlock the next item. In the original plan, the badge will be cooled at least twice, but this time, failed, only, if it prompts for recharging. It means, new blueprints are unlocked. Does it require recharging of badges? Thinking of this along the way, Xu Teng began to show a strange expression. It has always thought that the system is fixed. In other words, the energy point is to wake the system up from its slumber. The unlocking of the badge will not affect the system. And now to see, the relationship between the two is complementary. Is it the reason for getting badge upgrade points and upgrading badges? If the upgraded badges can in turn affect the blueprints produced by the system, then this time, the drawings unlocked by the system seem to be slightly different. It should be a big guy. Xu Teng rubbed his chin in thought. On the other side, Su Zhao, who was in a helicopter, was rushing frantically in the darkness in the genetic biology warrior project. Su Zhao was born without a biotranslator. It would still be in a state of ignorance, but after this thing the underlying logic has always been influencing its thinking. Just as science has no boundaries, scientists have national boundaries. As for Su Zhao, Who was born in the Dragon Kingdom? It also has national boundaries. It belongs to the Dragon Kingdom then. What I thought more about was, the lightsaber team ahead needs me. I heard that the reason why the mission has not been released is because I haven't arrived yet. The original normal thinking started to deviate. A handsome and talented guinea pig like me, truly the only one in the world. How can I exist without me when doing great things? If I wasn't there, how would the mission be carried out, and how could it be possible to crush others? Yes, I am everyone's savior. The pattern opened in an instant, and the surrounding warriors were still wondering, why did this little guinea pig start to giggle then? Its voice sounded in the headset, cough, cough, driver, can you drive the plane faster? I'm rushing to save the world. Pilot, soldier sitting around Su Zhao, I have a sentence MMP, I don't know if I should say it or not dare. The reason you were giggling just now is because of this. In the serious atmosphere, there is a little more subtle feeling before coming, everyone was thinking. The superior specially instructed Professor Su's genetic biological warriors. What exactly is going on? Could it be a super fierce guy with a gun? Although it is small in size, if it really fights, it can smash everyone present. But now to see, I don't know what I expected at all. There is no such thing as a super fierce guinea pig, and all the funny attributes are all filled. Yes, we are all trained and professional. Won't laugh. Only the muscles on the pilot's face twitched wildly, and the whole person was as uncomfortable as eating flies. I've driven fast. Really? Why didn't I feel it? Do you feel ass? This is heaven, still late at night. Do you know how much concentration it takes to drive a plane that is about to burst at night? You simply don't understand. Just to be concerned, why is the plane still moving so slowly? Well, then you must drive well. The previous sentence made the pilot a little unhappy, not just a little. Genetic biological warrior, if I can meet my requirements, I will specifically mention you to Professor Su. Gan, Professor Su. If you want to say who is the most popular in the army today, it must be Professor Su. All the troops spread the word. Professor Su's weapons have always been of strong and stable quality. Really? The pilot, who was still a little dissatisfied, immediately became like a dog licking. No one is tired anymore. The hands holding the steering wheel began to clench. Well, it depends on your performance. Cut. What brother said, look at it, let you know what is the technical charm of an ace pilot. In other cases, the pilot and Su Zhao are brothers. Everyone present will definitely regard the process of this operation as an interesting event. At the base, it started to circulate inside. But now, Nimas, behave well, and my brother can give me the resources to win weapons from Professor Su. Don't say you and I are brothers. In fact, the two of us are brothers who have been separated for many years. I'm going to perform one in front of everyone today, licking to the end, as a licking dog. I will have everything I need then. Crash la la la. The sudden climb made the things in the cabin start to fall apart, and everyone stumbled. Hey, what are you doing? Pay attention, we have plenty of time. That's right, you make me a little bit unbearable. Please, can you not be a licking dog? I hate licking dogs the most. A teasing voice came from the headset. Che, you just envy me. Besides, what is it that you can't stand it? Why don't you go and see why Su Zhao can't stand it anymore? At this time, everyone noticed this. Indeed. Why did Su Zhao, who took the helicopter for the first time, not say a word? When he turned his head, he saw that Su Zhao, who was attached to the wall, was glowing with golden light. It looked like it was defending against something. I ride a horse. A team member subconsciously burst into foul language. Others were stunned. It's not fair, it's playing tricks. How can we ordinary players compare to it? The pilot laughed disdainfully and said, cut, I only know that other people are hung up every day. Let me just say, if you play well, you must hang up. Can you open up the pattern a little bit? How can there be so many in this world? Hang. Finally, I added a crit. Is it so difficult to admit that others are better than you? I ride a horse. You are not licking dogs, you are licking gods. Why do you even lick Professor Su's gene warriors? I beg you, can you be a normal person? Chapter 250. Not human. The atmosphere at the scene started to get weird. On the one hand, everyone is saying that teammates should not be licking dogs and look down on someone like you. On the other hand, everyone was thinking, oh my god, why didn't I think of this situation just now? Su Zhao was developed by Professor Su from the genetic biological warrior. It's also close to Professor Su, so he can say a word. Maybe the new weapons will have their share. Gan, I beg you, don't lick too hard. We'd be sad if you did become licking to the end. Boom rumble. Only the sound of the helicopter's propeller was particularly noticeable in the silent night sky. At the border, Wang Doi was alerting the situation in the distance. Liu Baoren chewed the grass roots he pulled out in his mouth, and said vaguely, Captain, do you think we have been forgotten? Liu Boren, who originally thought he could do a great job, was a little disappointed at this time because killed the players from all directions, but could not find a suitable venue in any case. It is a depressing thing. Tang Yuan also accompanied him. It is indeed possible. Otherwise, before he could finish speaking, Yuan Farron interrupted the spellcasting. What nonsense are you talking about? Maybe our reinforcements are on their way, Captain. If you're going to say that, then I'm going to make a bet with you. Just bet. This time. Beep beep. The GPS phone on his waist rang. The four-member lightsaber squad was stunned for a moment, then delighted. Zhang Fangyan, it's finally here. I thought it was the same thing the other three members of the lightsaber said. Forgot that there is a squad here. Rahim, Cyrillic letter dead. Oh my god, don't these researchers in Long Kingdom need a rest? Is it necessary to roll like this? How long did it take to develop something new? A firearm that emits a faint blue light, a shield that shone golden light to block bullets. They all left a deep impression on Rahim. And even had a sense of fear in it. Now, the secret weapon is coming again. Hey, Yuan Farron just answered the phone, but hasn't spoken yet. A voice came from the other side. I told you that the secret weapon is on its way to be transported, and it will arrive soon. Li Yonghao thought for a while and added, I heard some news. Instructor Li of the Special Forces is full of praise for him. And here's the key point, he's broken all the records the school has ever had, and in a way, he's a genius. Genius. Li Yonghao rarely praises people. To be precise, few people deserve such praise from him. Haven't met yet. I've heard all kinds of compliments. Tang Yuan, it's a good thing, with such a strong teammate. Wouldn't it be the kind of quack slaughter to complete the mission? Liu Boren, ha, indeed. It's better than having a pig team. Wang Doi silently observed the situation in the distance without speaking. The solemn expression on his face revealed a hint of curiosity. Yuan Farron immediately said, how long will it take to arrive? There are still a few minutes left. I gave him your phone number just now, and he will take the initiative to contact you. There is no information about Su Chaodo marked on the task file. Just simply write a name. Therefore, he also takes it for granted that he is human. After hanging up, the lightsaber team of four began to drive the two to other locations. Before they don't know the secret weapon, it's better to keep all the information secret. Zhang Fangyan can understand this. After all, he retired from the army. But Rahim thought of other things, and began to shiver. Liu Boren, Captain, you said this time, will the people who come here bring any new weapons? Tang Yuan, it should be. After all, in the field of scientific research and invention, Professor Su is very strong. Hearing this, Yuan Farron also silently lowered his head and thought, if you say siege the city and pull the village, you can solve a lot of troubles with one shot of the firearms. Physical transcendence is always the most convenient thing, but when it comes to finding someone, mere weapons are useless. Beep. As soon as the location phone made a sound, it was connected directly. Yuan Farron hasn't spoken yet. Say it first. Did you hide the two of you on the opposite side? The four people who heard this sentence were stunned. The decision to hide Zhang Fangyan and Rahim was a temporary one. No one was notified, so how did he know? After being stunned for a while, Yuan Farron said, it's hidden. I personally went to check it carefully. Then he turned around to check it out. Don't go. I've already handled it for you anyway. Done. Is the processing you mentioned the same thing as the processing I thought? Don't worry, it's not the handling you thought. The people are still there. It's just creating a little trouble for them. After all, there are not many people as powerful as me. This uncle is different from ordinary humans like you. As if everything was right, as if nothing was right. Correct. Ordinary human. What does this mean? Are you not? I don't understand a bit. Liu Boren, who had been listening by the side, also noticed something was wrong and heard key words. What you said? Why are you not an ordinary human? Young man, it's not bad. You're sure to pass the reading comprehension section. One thing to say, I'm really not a human being. Not human. Then who am I talking to? Say something. The four members of the lightsaber team were a little confused from the tone of voice. It is not a joke. Then, where are you? Yuan Farron stammered and asked. Strange things happen every year, especially this year. The expressions of the other three were also a bit exciting. Tang Yuan, convex. Liu Boren, degree. Wang Doi, I'm near you. Why didn't you see me? I saw a ghost. Except for Wang Doi, the other three immediately came up with this idea. Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I forgot. You mortals always like to see the world with what they understand. That's right. There are so many Professor Su in the world. Su Zhao snapped his fingers, and the scattered ants began to gather, like layers of arhats. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.